The Pirate Journey of Arceus. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176. The mother in the pirate world is always a mystery, except Big Mom. Then who is my mother? Compared to the small question of addressing, this question is a little more difficult to answer. After all, Kaido is very tight-lipped about this. Even when he was drunk, he never mentioned who Yamato's biological mother is. Calling him mom is just an accident caused by his habit of speaking, but asking him to answer who her biological mother is really embarrassing. Arceus. Mariah has Aunt Rico to accompany her. Do I have no mother? How is that possible? Your mother just couldn't accompany you because of some things. You can ask Kaido for details when you grow up. This is a question that only a biological father can answer, and he is powerless. Besides, even if your mother is not around, we are there to accompany you. Look at Jack. He doesn't know who his parents are, but he is still fine. Although Jack did not inherit Kaido's bloodline like Yamato, his fishman blood also made him stronger and stronger, and now he has started swimming in the water. For fishermen, swimming is easier than walking. This also gave Manderfish a little follower. Although he couldn't help much, he also had a person who could talk in the dark deep sea. Otherwise, it would be boring to explore in such a place every day. Children are only interested in a few things after a short time. After Arceus' words, she no longer bothered about this problem. Then she was taken back to play by the 4 Jigglypuffs. If the language of Jigglypuffs is considered a foreign language, then Yamato has roughly mastered a foreign language today. The language of Pokemon is universal, but that is for Pokemon. They are like Den Mushy and can understand the special wavelengths in it. Only those Jigglypuffs can understand Yamato's Jigglypuff language. But there is no need. After all, Pokemon can understand the meaning of human language. The benefit of this strange language is that it can make her understand the words of Jigglypuff better. And above board encrypted communication, she has grown very fast recently and is already over 1 meter tall. I'm afraid that in a year or two, the chickpeas won't be able to hold her, especially Jack, whose size has made him almost as tall as the chickpeas. She has long been impossible to hold, and I don't know if it's because of his good nutrition or because the group of fishmen is born like this. His body is relatively round, and he looks ugly and cute before he builds up his muscles. It's probably the strange state. After a while of crazy play, Yamato was also taken back to the bedroom by the chickpeas. 2 of the chickpeas were exhausted by her. She can use up the physical strength of a Pokemon as a human cub. In this respect, she can be said to be gifted. Then Arceus came to the roof of Onigashima, from where he could see most of the scenery of Wano Country. Wano Country looked very empty at night, and only a few places could still see light. Among them is the Flower City. Under the reflection of candlelight and lantern light, there is a nighttime light. This is also the only prosperous area under the rule of Orochi, a very alternative prosperity. Under his reckless development, some merchants in the Flower City did make a lot of money, but the price was that more families went bankrupt, and they completely sucked the blood of the civilians of Wano Country to replenish themselves. This caused a serious class division inside and outside the Flower City. The poor became poorer, and the rich became richer. In addition to the Flower City, only the Rabbit Bowl area and some areas of Hakume can still see some lights. These 2 areas are the areas where the Beast's pirates have developed the most. Then he looked at Haim in the farthest distance. Thanks to Kurozumi Orochi, the number of displaced civilians in Wano has been increasing, and those people were gathered by the Beast's pirates with the help of Kajero's Chamber of Commerce. With about the same number of people, Haim's vast wasteland is about to be used. A black shadow flew across the night sky, and Kaido ran here again from nowhere. You are still looking at this boring night view. What else? By the way, Yamato asked about who her biological mother is today. Although I have temporarily evaded the question, the child may remember it again at any time. Do you still want to keep it a secret? Is she at this age? A child under the protection of her mother will not grow up. If she asks you again, tell her that I will tell her the answer when she can defeat me. But are you spoiling her too much? Really? I don't think so. Of course, we will start training her in a year. Don't be soft-hearted and reluctant to do it when the time comes. In a sense, Kaido already has a complete training content from physical fitness to martial arts, from moves to domineering. Arceus has seen that content, which is fatal to ordinary people, but Kaido believes that Yamato can stick to it. I know. After all, you can't live without strength in this world. How is the world government? Pampering does not mean spoiling. This is not an ordinary world. A girl like Avaz has no way to gain a foothold in the outside world. They still want Eastern, and it's basically certain that they have what you want, but that group of people are still negotiating something, and those contents have not been eavesdropped. In addition to raising children, finding the stone tablet is still the top priority. He really hates the current world government, but if the other party really has something crucial, it's not impossible to get the thing first. Anyway, they will know what the result of aiding the enemy is. There's nothing else to do, but Roger has been very active recently and has been on the headlines of newspapers for a long time. He seems to have discovered something new. This is not the first time that Roger's pirate group has sailed on the Grand Line. They have long reached the nominal end of the Grand Line Waterstar Island. But that island is not difficult. As long as you follow the signal of the recording pointer, it is not difficult to find it. The real focus is Raftel. It is said that the red historical text hides the real secret. That woman Big Mom has one, but unfortunately no one knows where the rest are. There is one under Wano country. Setsuna said there is one on Zal, and I don't know where the other one is. Kaido was just saying it casually. He didn't expect Arceus to know this information. After all, he hasn't even found all his own tablets. But Arceus directly gave him the answer of 2 tablets, and his tone was very strange. Why didn't you say it earlier? Tell me. It's clearly written in the information compiled by Jin and the others. Tell me, how long have you not looked at those things? You are really confident in being a hands-off manager. Chapter 177 Vegetable Thief. Except for some secret information that can only be communicated verbally in the Beast's Pirates, the rest are basically in duplicate, and Arceus will take a look every day. Kaido is no exception. He is the governor of the Beast's Pirates, and it is impossible to exclude him from such things. Although he was not told verbally, the document was still handed over to him. From his answer, it can be seen that he has not read a word recently, and that was news from several months ago, which shows how long he has not been involved in these things. Don't worry about these details. I'm still relieved to leave these things to you. Kaido's unbridled laughter came from the roof of Onigashima, and those who heard this laughter were no longer surprised. Kaido's personality is changeable, and his laughter is at least much safer than his crying. At least when Kaido laughs, it means that he is not drunk and will not do anything extreme. If he starts crying, then not staying away from him in time may cause very dangerous things to happen. As for the historical text, it refers to an indestructible stone tablet cast by the ancestors of the Kazuki clan of Wano country during the blank 100 years. No one can tell what it is made of. In short, the writing on them is still very clear in hundreds of years of history, and the world government has not been able to destroy this kind of stone. There are 2 types of historical texts. One is the signpost historical text that records the location information of Raftel. They are characterized by red color and there are 4 pieces in total. Now one is in the hands of Charlotte Linlin, one is in the deep sea of Wano, one is on the back of the Zhao giant elephant, and the other one is unknown to the Beast's Pirates. The other is 26 historical texts that record the blank 100 years of history, including 9 historical texts that record important information. The distribution of these historical texts is probably more difficult to find than Arceus's stone tablets. He can also sense the stone tablets, but the historical texts can only rely on luck. The world government strictly prohibits the interpretation of the content on it. What exactly Raftel has is unknown, but this does not affect Kaido's interest in it. However, after this incident, the Beast's Pirates have one more stone to find. The conversation on the roof of Onigashima did not affect anything, but in the peach garden farm in Jiuli, Setsuna suddenly woke up from her sleep because she heard a scream, and the voice sounded familiar, as if it was the voice of Cat Vipir. After leaving the house, she did not go there immediately, but looked at Zorora's residence. It is beyond doubt that Zorora is stronger than her. It is impossible for Zorora not to hear the voice she heard, but at this time, the sound of electricity can still be heard in his room, which means that Zorora has not left. Zorora, something seems to have happened on the farm. It's nothing serious. If you are worried, you can go and have a look. Setsuna's judgment was wrong. Zorora did not go, but came back after going. His mission is to guard the safety of Peach Garden Farm, but there are not many members of the Beast Pirates here except him, because the main force here is not them, but those big milk tanks. Although those big milk cans are gentle, get along well with children, and look weak, it would be a big mistake to think that they are just ordinary cows. These big milk cans are not something that just anyone can deal with. They are also capable of fighting. By the way, it might be the annoying cat you mentioned before. They may have a hard time tonight. Hearing what Zorora said, Setsuna seemed to understand something and immediately left the bedroom and ran towards the place where the sound came from. Meow, what are these strange cows? In an open space on the farm, Inarashi and Cat VIP were being besieged, and the ones attacking them were naturally the big milk cans. They shrank into balls and rushed towards Inarashi and Cat VIP one after another. Although Cat VIP likes balls, this kind of ball is not in his favorite category. I told you not to come, but you didn't listen to my advice. Now you know the consequences. Inarashi crossed his hands to block the rolling of a big milk can, and then complained to Cat VIP. They had just returned to Kuri not long ago, and they should be resting in Odin Castle now, but after hearing Jiro and the others talk about what happened during this period, Cat VIP was dissatisfied with this. Moreover, because of Kinemon, their finances were seriously in deficit, and even the kitchen was left with only some cheap things. They could starve, but they couldn't let the Lord's wife and children starve together. In Cat VIP's opinion, this place was originally built by Odin, and even if it was forcibly rented by the Beast's pirates, it still belonged to the Kazuki family, so he came here to steal vegetables. Inarashi thought that he was not doing well, and originally wanted to stop him, but in the end, he was brought here by Cat VIP. As for the reason, it was similar to when they went to Shimotsuki Yasu's house to steal money. Kurizumi Orochi borrowed all of Odin's money, and he was a servant in Shimotsuki Yasu's house, so they went to his master's house. Now the Beast's pirates caused the situation in Odin Castle, so they came to their own farm to take back their things. It didn't take Cat VIP and Dog Arashi much effort to sneak into the farm, and not all the trees were planted with fruits. Some fields were planted with ordinary fruits and vegetables. There were no guards in the farm, but there were many big milk cans resting in places they couldn't see, and their stealing behavior was discovered. Although the big milk cans can walk upright, they are of average height, and only a cow's head is exposed in the farmland. Seeing that they were discovered by a cow, they didn't take it seriously, but continued to steal vegetables, as if no one was around. This behavior naturally angered the big milk cans. At its call, the companions who were resting nearby also woke up. When Dog Arashi and Cat VIP found something wrong, they were surrounded by more than a dozen big milk cans. At first, Cat VIP didn't take these big milk cans seriously. In his opinion, they were just some strange breeds of cows. He was also a person who had been to the sea, and had been to many magical islands with Roger and Whitebird. The closed nature of the islands has led to many islands deriving their own unique species, so he just waved his hand to drive away the big milk cans. Cat VIP and his friends ignored Miltank again and again, so Miltank was no longer polite. The leader Miltank rolled into a ball and rolled towards Cat VIP. When Cat VIP heard the noise behind him and turned around, he saw Miltank growing bigger and bigger in his sight. Chapter 178 The Complex Inner Feelings of Giuli Residents. The Fur tribe inherited the characteristics of beasts, which allowed them to inherit their weaknesses, while acquiring their innate abilities. Cat VIP's cat tongue is a notable feature. The cat's nose is also more fragile. They did not expect the big milk tank to adopt such an attack method, so Cat VIP was hit hard on the nose by the big milk tank. However, Inarashi and Cat VIP are not ordinary fry. As young fur tribe members, their physical fitness is much stronger than that of ordinary people. After Cat VIP was hit in the face by the big milk tank, Inarashi also reacted and blocked the second big milk tank for him. But the problem is that there are not one or two big milk tanks here, but a group. Before he could catch his breath, the third big milk tank hit him, and the big milk tank he blocked also adjusted its direction, accelerated and joined the rolling sequence again. There were more traces like ruts on the ground. Rolling is a continuous attack. The speed of rolling will become faster and faster, and the power will become greater and greater. Inarashi also became more and more exhausted from being able to parry at the beginning. Under the order of the leader, the big milk tanks were divided into several echelons, which would not interfere with each other, and ensure continuous attacks without giving the other side a chance to breathe. Cat VIP. Are you ready? The big milk tanks had formed a circle to wrap them in the middle, and Inarashi's waist was hit hard. Copperhead iron bones, tofu waist. Although this sentence is used to describe wolves, and dogs are very closely related species, and they have common characteristics in this regard. Inarashi's waist can be said to be one of his weaknesses. Because they came out quietly to steal vegetables, Inarashi and Cat VIP did not bring weapons. They did not want to make things too big, so Inarashi wanted to leave here quickly. Okay. Then leave quickly. It will be troublesome if you get caught, and you can't cause trouble for the lady. This was somewhat strange. After all, when they made this decision, the trouble had already occurred. And now it is difficult to leave. When the big tanks just started to roll, they could break out, but as the big tanks finished rolling and charged, they entered the combat state, and their strength has increased several times. There is a layer of light on the body of the big tank, which is the move. Rounding and rolling can be said to be a fixed combination. Higher defense makes their bodies less vulnerable to injury, and can also indirectly increase the damage of rolling. The claws of the Cat VIP who recovered were lit with lightning. They would naturally use the power of static electricity, the iconic of the fur tribe. Lightning and fire have always been things that wild beasts fear, but this is useless to the big tanks. In the end, under the command of the leader, Inarashi and Cat VIP were forced into a corner. Inarashi, wait and defeat the leader first, otherwise we can't get rid of these weird cows. They are not chores on the pirate ship. They have experienced many battles, big and small. Among those big tanks, there is one that is obviously different. After leading the attack, it retreated to the back and turned to command other big tanks. You don't need to tell me. The question is how to do it. To catch a thief, you must first catch the leader. This is the most basic principle. However, there is another necessary prerequisite for this. That is, they can break through the formation of the big milk tank in front of them. What kind of creatures are these strange cows? Don't they feel dizzy? Ordinary creatures should feel dizzy after turning more than 10 times, but these strange cows rolling on the ground have turned countless times. Not only are they not dizzy, but their strength and speed are getting stronger and stronger. When they steal vegetables, they can still pay attention to not making too much noise, but they can't do it when they fight. As the sound of the battle gradually gets louder, the farmers living outside the farm are also awakened. Hearing the noise coming from the farm, they did not run away, but took their axes and forks and walked inside together. The beast's pirates have a fixed planting target for the new policy of the farm. After exceeding this target, the crops harvested will be converted into equivalent ordinary food and handed over to them. For these farmers, a delicious fruit is far less important than 3 pounds of rice. Being full is their most important thing. Although the Kazuki family originally built Taoyuan Farm to provide residents with food and clothing, their method was to distribute the crops collectively after planting, which limited people's enthusiasm. Anyway, no matter how much they planted, they would get the same amount, so there was no need to fight for it. But after the policy of more work, more pay, and less work, less pay, everything was different. The whole family, young and old, joined in the battle, and the children were also milking the cows, which was the driving force of this policy. Now, if someone touches the farm, it means they are touching their interests. The loss of each crop means that their own interests will also be damaged. Under the condition of interests being bound, they are more active in defending the farm than the pirates of the beast's pirates. But when those ordinary farmers came around with torches, the situation became weird. The soil was brought into the air by the high-speed rotating bodies of the milk cans, and a large amount of soil formed a large piece of dust in the air, interfering with people's vision, and the approach of those farmers made the milk cans slow down their speed. As the dust gradually dissipated, they also saw clearly that the people surrounded by the milk cans were Cat Viper and his group. Inarashi and Nikomaru are retainers of Kazuki Oden, and Kazuki Oden is a daimyo of Kuri. As residents here, these people naturally know them. That's Inarashi and Nikomaru. So what if it's them? This place has been abandoned, and we have been abandoned too. In the initial agreement, the beasts only wanted Taoyuan farm. These farmers were recruited by them later, because Oden's retainers failed to arrange a way out for them. And they had previously carried out a lot of negative publicity on the beasts pirates, so these people were very panicked at first. It was better to say that they accepted the employment of the beasts because of life. Later, reality told them the truth. In front of the objective facts they personally came into contact with, those rumors naturally broke down. So when they saw Inarashi and Nikomaru appearing here, a complex emotion appeared in their hearts. However, when someone saw the trampled vegetables on the ground, a wave of anger still appeared in their hearts. Those were the food they had worked so hard to grow, but they were ruined like this. Inarashi, the expressions on those people reminded me of something bad. Ah, me too. Just like when we first came here a few years ago. Chapter 179, The Pain That Life Cannot Bear. That was when they had just drifted to Wano country. The residents of Wano country regarded them as monsters and wanted to burn them to death. Now the eyes of those people were very similar to the previous ones. Last time, it was Kazuki Oden who saved them, but now the situation is different. Although they have the ability to fight back, they can't attack those residents. However, Cat Viper found an opportunity. With the arrival of the residents, the dense rolling of the big milk tank became slack, and the leader who was previously untouchable was closer to them. Lightning flashed across his body, and he stimulated the muscles in his body through static electricity to seek a faster burst. According to the thinking of the beast group, as long as the leader can be defeated, these members will be afraid, and then they can leave here. Cat Viper, come back. Looking at Cat Viper who suddenly rushed out, Inarashi's forehead dripped a few drops of cold sweat. Although he has dog fur, there are still some differences between him and a dog. For example, his skin can sweat, and he does not need to rely entirely on his tongue to dissipate heat. In his eyes, those suddenly stopped big milk tanks were a glaring trap, and Cat Viper just plunged into it. Although they were forced into a corner by the big milk tanks, there was also a reason for them to retreat. In the absence of a road behind, Cat Viper and Inarashi only needed to defend a quarter of the range each. Now that Cat Viper took the initiative to rush out, it was like his body was completely exposed to the attack range of the big milk tank. They just slowed down, but did not stop completely, but formed a pocket formation. Now that Cat Viper took the initiative to rush in, they tightened the pocket. Moo, moo, moo. Under the command of the leader, only a few big milk tanks were left to contain Inarashi, and the rest concentrated their firepower to besiege Cat Viper. Cat Viper was not afraid of these big milk tanks in a one-on-one situation, and it might not be impossible even in a one-on-many situation. However, he did not bring any weapons, and because of his contempt, he was hit head-on by the big milk tank leader at the beginning. Now facing the siege of the big milk tank, he was a little overwhelmed. Without Inarashi's assistance, the defense was quickly broken when attacked from both sides. A milk tank took advantage of the situation and used a small pit on the ground to adjust its angle, then hit Cat Viper's crotch from below. The minks are also a kind of subhuman. Although the rolling milk tank looks very smooth, they have horns and hooves. The pain of being hit in the crotch by an irregular high-speed rotating ball is hard to describe in words. Cat Viper let out a shrill scream, which was also the sound heard by Setsuna. Cat Viper's performance made the surrounding villagers feel uncomfortable and unconsciously stepped back a few steps. In the past, the people of the Beast's pirates told them not to anger Miltank, otherwise it would be very dangerous. Miltank's gentle performance during this period of time almost made them forget this sentence, but today, they completely understood the horror of Miltank. Cat Viper. Looking at the Cat Viper lying on the ground, Inarashi was a little impatient. He almost suffered the same fate the next moment. This time, there was no Kazuki Oden to save them. However, not long after Cat VIP's scream, Setsuna appeared here. Wait, stop first. The nominal management of Taoyuan Farm is now in the hands of Zorora, and Setsuna also has certain rights, so Miltank will still obey her orders. Why are you two here? Looking at the Cat VIP lying on the ground and the panting Inarashi, Setsuna didn't quite understand what happened. Moo, moo. Without waiting for Inarashi to answer, Miltank expressed his meaning with words and gestures. People who have been with Pokemon for a long time can still understand the general meaning. You two are here to steal things? Hearing what the leader Miltank said, Setsuna showed an incredible expression. The national background of Zhao has led to their folk customs tending to be primitive society. There are only a few people in total. If they steal things, they will be despised by the whole tribe. Then she looked at the villagers around and said to them, "It's alright, everyone. It's just a small matter. Go back to sleep." She still cares about the friendship of her own people. It would be too embarrassing in front of so many people. Let them leave first. Under the persuasion of Setsuna, the villagers also packed up their things and left here one by one. After all, the people of the Beast's pirates have arrived, so they don't need to delay. In the end, only a few pirates were left around. If the previous trainee was Olga, then Olga has begun to become a Kada now, and Setsuna has become a new reserve Kada. She has been following Zorora and can also command these pirates. You go back too. I'll handle it here. Miss Setsuna, you are alone, don't worry, I know them, and there is also Miltank here. Under her insistence, the pirates also left here. Okay, which of you two can explain to me why you stole things here? Although she said so, Setsuna's eyes were already looking at Inarashi. She didn't expect the already lying Cat VIP to give her a serious answer. It was not because he was knocked down, but because she didn't believe that Cat VIP could say anything good. Well, how should I put it? Inarashi's expression was a little embarrassed. They could deceive themselves by saying that they were doing it for the Lord's wife, but they couldn't hide that their behavior was stealing. Forget it. By the way, do you still have the life card of Zhao? I accidentally lost mine. Setsuna remembered the business this time and first asked Inarashi for the life card. Inarashi's life card was not lost, and he always carried it with him. After hearing what Setsuna said, he tore half of it for her. Then she picked some vegetables and fruits and gave them to them. If you really have nothing to eat, come to me. I can still decide on these things. The children of the Beast's pirates all have their own pocket money, and they usually have no place to spend money, so these can be regarded as her personal sponsorship. Don't come and steal next time. This time is fine, but you will be punished if it happens again. Normally, they should be punished for doing this, but Setsuna wanted them to leave immediately because of the friendship of the same tribe, so she asked them to leave early. But not everyone wanted to accept her kindness, such as Cat VIP. After he recovered, he was not convinced. Meow. This was originally our farm, but you just took it away. How can this be called stealing? Cat VIP. As soon as these words came out, Inarashi knew that he was in big trouble, and the electric current flashing on Setsuna's body also proved this point. Cat VIP, I have tolerated you for a long time today, don't be shameless. Chapter 180 Beating. In most cases, the minks value the friendship of their own kind. Because the number of tribes is small, they need to help each other. This is the case in Zhao, not to mention the rare compatriots they met overseas. Whether it was Setsuna taking some crops for them, or Inarashi dividing the life card, they did not hesitate. This was assistance between the same tribe. Similarly, they also valued gratitude. It is also their characteristic to repay a favor, even if the price of repaying a favor is very high. Kazuki Oden owed a favor to Nekomaru and Inarashi, and the Beast's pirates owed a favor to Setsuna. Under this premise, it is understandable that they chose different forces. But Nekomaru is different from Inarashi. Inarashi can think about the situation rationally, while he is easily impulsive, and directly brings his blind worship of Oden into other personal feelings. Setsuna and Inarashi focus on the relationship between the same tribe when dealing with problems, but Nekomaru is different. He is so influenced by Oden that he thinks about the contradictions between the Beast's pirates and the Kazuki family. Although it has not yet erupted, there are objective disputes, such as the ownership of Taoyuan Farm. In Cat Vip's view, this is a robbery of the beast's pirates. From his point of view, there is nothing wrong with this view. It can only be said that each serves its own master. And the beast's pirates are pirates after all. Even if their rules are much more than those of ordinary pirates, this fact cannot be changed. Although the beasts have been using a conciliatory policy most of the time, it does not mean that they have completely given up the use of force. When they were repairing the factory in Rabbit Bowl before, they had some intention of demolishing it. Although those were done by Kirizumi Orochi, it is not right to say that the beasts did not take any action at all. After all, without Kaido behind them, those daimyos would inevitably oppose Kirizumi Orochi's behavior. Even if the beasts did not continue to persecute those residents as Kirizumi Orochi wished, but instead properly resettled them, the offset of merits and demerits does not mean that the demerits have disappeared. Taoyuan Farm can be said to be the only farm that was ceded land and paid compensation. This is because Kinemon violated the rules set by the beast's pirates, so he paid the price. The right to use Taoyuan Farm was used to offset Kinemon's mining penalty. Except that Otten Castle could no longer use the crops there unconditionally, there were no other changes. In Setsuna's eyes, Kinemon was not a victim, but a criminal who reaped his own fruits. However, she did not apply this emotion to Cat Vip and Inarashi. There were still big differences between individuals. Cat Vip had a little conflict with her, since they met in the daytime, because of their identities. Just now, she was kind enough to send them away, and even paid for a lot of things for them out of her own pocket. Unexpectedly, Cat Vip was still stubborn with her. Do you think you are right? I said that this place was taken away by you. Very good, Inarashi, put the things down for me. I regret it. Judging from Cat Vip's meaning, it was right for her to give these things. If she let them take the things away, it would be like admitting her mistake. Since Cat Vip made such a clear distinction, there was no need for her to show goodwill. Letting them leave here was the last friendship of the same race. Although the crime of theft is not as serious as jailbreaking, it is not too much to throw him to dig for a few days. As he said that, he was going to take back the things that he had handed to Inarashi, and waved his hand to signal them to leave quickly, but Cat Vip didn't seem to want to leave just like that. After all, the purpose of their coming here had not been achieved. Inarashi, you go first. I'll stop her for a while. Isn't this bad? Madame Toki is still sick. Although Inarashi was more rational, he was also shaken when talking about Kazuki, and he was still shaken when he saw the green vegetables in his hand. And Cat Vip's behavior finally broke through Setsuna's bottom line. She had tolerated him twice, and this time she couldn't bear it anymore. I said put the things down, can't you hear me? With the power of her legs, she almost bounced out from the spot, and her claws flashing with lightning also grabbed the things in Inarashi's hands. Cat Vip wanted to stop her, but after 7 years of not seeing each other, he underestimated Setsuna's strength, and didn't even touch a hair of her. The wolf claws slashed through the air, and the straw basket was torn into pieces by the sharp claw blades. The fresh fruits and vegetables were scattered all over the ground, and rolled away along the slope. You keep saying that we robbed your farm, but now you are also robbing my things. You should go back and ask those people why they gave this place to us. He kicked Cat Vip. Because he had been repeatedly robbed by the rolling big milk can several times before, he had just stood up tremblingly for a while, but he was kicked out directly. The resentment accumulated before completely broke out at this moment, and Setsuna's fist hit Cat Vip's cat face directly. I told you to condemn me, told you to make me say the wrong thing, and told you to steal things. I have tolerated you for a long time, do you know? There was a faint flash of lightning on his fist, which showed that Setsuna was really angry, and Cat Vip was also directly beaten. They had fought before, but Setsuna was not his opponent at all at that time, so he never took Setsuna seriously in his heart. After not seeing Setsuna for a few years, he became much stronger than before. He had just recovered from the pain caused by the big milk tank, and was hit in the eye by Setsuna, leaving a big black eye. But when she was about to let Cat Vip be symmetrical and give the other eye a bruise, Inarashi blocked her attack. Setsuna, Cat Vip said the wrong thing. Give me face and let it go. We were wrong. Her arm was slightly numb, not because of the electric current, but because of the difference in strength. It seemed that Setsuna had changed much more than they thought. Give you face. Then where is my face? Although Inarashi blocked Setsuna's attack, Setsuna had no intention of stopping. Cat VIP provoked her again and again. If she hadn't remembered the old friendship, they would have fought long ago. She shook Inarashi away and didn't stop, still beating Cat VIP. After several attacks, although Setsuna's blows became much lighter, he still had no intention of stopping. In this case, Inarashi also joined the battle with Setsuna. He had a better relationship with Nekomamushi. The fact that things had come to this point had a lot to do with Nekomamushi's impulsiveness. It was okay to let him suffer a little, but if he continued, Inarashi would not be able to bear it. Setsuna, that's enough. Although she beat Nekomamushi severely, she didn't want to kill him or anything. She hadn't vented her anger just now, and it was enough at this point. Nekomamushi, apologize to me. As long as you admit that you were wrong this time, I will let you go this time. Chapter 181, Hard Mouth. The fundamental reason why they fought was because Cat VIP always wanted to condemn her from a moral high ground, but when he condemned Setsuna, he was doing the same thing. Doing this for Oden was right, and doing this for others was wrong, and this was the root cause of their fight. Now that the person had been beaten, as long as Cat VIP verbally admitted her weakness, her face would be saved. Things would have ended there, but some people would still be hard-mouthed, even if they were completely soft and burned to ashes. This was the case with Cat VIP at this moment. Not only did he think he was right about the previous things, he was also unwilling to accept being defeated by Setsuna. He was very shocked that Setsuna could beat him like this. After all, Setsuna in the past was not that strong. Don't be so proud. If I hadn't been injured by those strange bulls, you wouldn't be my opponent. Meow. Woo woo. However, Cat VIP was blocked by Inarashi just halfway through his words. If this continued, it would really be a bad ending. It seems that you are very unconvinced. That's right, I'm unconvinced. You are just taking advantage of someone's misfortune. Inarashi, let me go, and let me fight her again. You stupid cat, can't you see that it has been a few years ago? You can't beat her now. You actually helped that violent wolf to talk about me? Don't forget where this is. Shouldn't you help me? Setsuna looked at Inarashi and Cat VIP in front of her. If she wasn't familiar with them, she would have thought they were acting. After all, they were about to quarrel. Cat VIP, you said I was taking advantage of someone's misfortune, right? Meow. Otherwise, those strange cows consumed too much of our energy, and we didn't bring any weapons. Otherwise you would not be my opponent. Okay, I'll give you a chance to prepare. Tomorrow night, we'll have another fight on the beach during the day. You can do it alone, or you and Inarashi can come together, or you can call a few more people, such as those so-called friends of yours. If you still lose to me by then, just honestly admit your mistake, and apologize to me. You are not allowed to come to our place to make trouble again. And you have to compensate for today's losses. The degree of Cat VIP's stubbornness was beyond her imagination, and the minks themselves had the thinking of a beast. At this time, they could only choose physical persuasion. Whoever wins is right. What if you lose? What do you want? Continue to supply fresh food to Odin Castle. Okay, but now please get out of here. I don't want to see you again. In the end, the incident ended with Cat VIP being beaten up. With her, the two of them left Taoyuan farm intact, while Setsuna was counting the things that were destroyed in the farm. Someone had to be responsible for these things. She let them go, so she had to be responsible for it herself. This was the rule within the Beast's pirates, and it was the same for everyone. So for the time being, she had to pay for these property losses out of her own pocket. Although I beat Cat VIP up, it didn't make me feel better. If I can't beat him tomorrow, I'll take his last name from now on. She took out her diary and wrote 2 more sentences on it. But when she went back, she saw Zorora sitting at the door waiting for her. They said you let him go. The pirates under Setsuna's behavior couldn't just ignore it, so they still notified Zorora. After all, he was the person in charge here. I'm sorry, those two were my old friends, so forgive them once. I'll be responsible for the damage. She still concealed some things in front of Zerora. Most of the rules were made by Arceus and Arcee. Because of Arceus's participation, Shaina and Zerora completely regarded them as iron laws. If there is no suitable reason, they can't ignore it. But someone said that you had a fight. That guy is quite annoying, but he is still a good person. Please, Zerora, Calichu in recent years, her usual method, acting like a spoiled child usually has a significant effect. Just this once. To put it bluntly, these two people were just petty thefts, which were different from Kinemorn's breaking into the rabbit bowl mining field. It can be said that it can be big or small. Seeing Setsuna's plea, Zerora did not pursue the matter. Thank you, Zerora, you are the best. Go back to sleep, don't you see what time it is? On the other side, Inarashi supported Nekomamashi back to Odin Castle. Inarashi, you didn't help me. You're going too far. You've been targeting Setsuna since you came back. Don't you think there's something wrong with you? Have you forgotten what Kinemorn has become? Who made her join that beast? That wasn't Setsuna's doing, and she had good intentions to give us something, but you messed it up. The two of them had a few arguments along the way, and in the end, neither of them could convince the other. In the end, they quietly returned to the house. Setsuna didn't hold back in the first few punches, and the scars left by the big milk can were also very obvious. They didn't want to be discovered by others, so as not to make them worry. To these people, who were also retainers, Nico VIP's attitude and patience were much better than before. Inarashi, what should we do tomorrow? What should we do? Go fight. It's you who caused it anyway. Seeing Nico VIP mention this, Inarashi didn't want to pay attention to him. In his opinion, if it weren't for Nico VIP's mouth, things would be far less complicated. No, I mean, I may really be unable to beat that girl. She has become so strong in the past few years. He didn't continue to be stubborn in front of Inarashi. Then just admit your mistake. It's wrong for you to target her. She is her, and the beasts are the beasts. That's not what I'm talking about. Think about Toki-san, Momonosuke-sama, and Hiyawari-sama. As long as we win, we can get fresh food. You want to. Inarashi seemed to understand what Cat VIP meant, but he felt a little ashamed. Facing a girl 2 years younger than him, there was nothing to be proud of even if they won. If this was reported back to Zal, it would be embarrassing, but Cat VIP's reason was very realistic. This was the best way for them to get fresh food. Although Denjiro was working hard to make money, he could only barely fill some holes. The patches on their clothes were the most direct proof. She said we could go together. This is all for the Kazuki family. We can lose face first. Let me think about it. Cat VIP didn't say anything else. According to his understanding of Inarashi, if he didn't refuse directly, he had already agreed. In his opinion, they might not be able to beat Setsuna alone, but there would be no problem with two people. But he missed one thing, because tomorrow night is the full moon of this month. Chapter 180 To the moment of battle. The next day, Cat VIP disappeared without a trace and did not show up at all. Because of the beating, his face was severely injured. If he went out, he would definitely be discovered. So he left Odin Castle at dawn, but Inarashi stayed in Odin Castle until night fell, and then he took his and Cat VIP's knives and quietly left here again. At the same time, Setsuna also tiptoed to open the door, and then revealed two wolf ears, to eavesdrop on the sounds in the next room. There was no sound of the generator running, and there was no sound of electricity. It seemed that Zerora had rested. Then she tiptoed out of the room, and after leaving for a distance, she ran towards the Kiri beach. On the way, she also woke up a few big milk tanks, but when they saw that it was their own people, they fell down and continued to sleep. However, she did not notice that Zerora had been following her not far behind. He had long felt that something was wrong. Setsuna seemed to have something to say yesterday and went back to the room to sleep early today. This was completely contrary to common sense. So he didn't do physical training today and kept an eye on Setsuna's condition. Zerora is a very special electric Pokemon that doesn't have an electric organ. But there are gains and losses. Although he gave up the electric organ, he can create a magnetic field through his own electric current. This range is his domain. Within the domain, he can flexibly control electromagnetic force. After more training, he can reach the level of Enel's observation haki by combining observation haki. Although he is not so proficient now, he can also locate more carefully. However, this behavior is somewhat voyeuristic, so he usually doesn't do this. He made this choice after noticing some special circumstances. On the beach of Kuri, Cat VIP and Inarashi arrived here earlier than Setsuna. Due to the closed-door policy of Wano country, citizens spend most of their time in the canals on the island, and few people enter the inland sea. Fishing in the inland sea of Wano country requires a fishing license, and most of the subordinates and relatives of the daimyo are eligible. During the day, you can still see some people picking up fish, or fishing on the coast, but at night, the beach here is very quiet. Inarashi and Cat VIP each hold a knife, and wait in such an environment. She's not playing tricks on us, is she? No, she's not that kind of person. As he was talking, Setsuna's figure ran out of the woods beside him, and Zorora, who was following her, also saw them. However, he did not show up, but found a tree to lie on, and took out a few poffin from his pocket. Poffin is a pastry made from tree fruits, most of which are specially supplied to Pokemon. The specific process was not made by the Beast's pirates, but by the Big Mom pirates, based on the ideas provided by the Beasts. In terms of dessert chefs, no pirate group can compare to the Big Mom pirates. Although some types of poffin can be eaten by humans, most of the poffin taste very strange, and only Pokemon's taste can get used to it. And each Pokemon has different preferences. These are Zorora's snacks, similar to popcorn at the movies. He wants to see what Setsuna is going to do. On the beach, looking at the knives in their hands, Setsuna's expression was not very happy. Inarashi, you are the same as Cat VIP. It seems that you are both of the same character. Although she said that, she thought that only Cat VIP would participate, but she didn't expect Inarashi to really participate. Sorry, but I have a reason to do this. It's up to you. Is there anyone else? Call them out together. This situation was also within her expectations, otherwise she wouldn't have chosen today. Whether it was Setsuna, Inarashi or Cat VIP, they all had one thing in common, that is, no one looked up at the sky, because a full moon was floating in the sky. A few years ago, she mastered the power of the moon lion with the help of Arceus, and that power was the greatest confidence of the fur tribe. As for Inarashi and Cat VIP, although they were both fur tribe, Setsuna could be sure that they didn't know how to use the moon lion when they left Zal. The learning process of moon lion is very dangerous. Without other adult minks, ordinary young minks would definitely not be able to learn alone. With moon lion, even if there are others behind them, Setsuna does not think he can't handle it. Without others, this matter won't involve more people, but you still remember what you said. You don't need to worry about this. If you beat me, I will pay for everything you need out of my own pocket. But you, a stinky cat, better think about how to apologize and admit defeat. Don't brag. Although I don't know what you have been through these years, we have learned a lot from Lord Dodden. Cat VIP drew his sword, but Inarashi did not do so. If Cat VIP can solve the problem by himself, then it would be best for him not to interfere. Although Cat VIP had some doubts before, he had to try it. What about your weapons? Mine. No need. Bows and arrows are not suitable. If you use your knife, I have enough claws. Saying a domineering entanglement on both hands, there is a current in the fur of the body. Key. Then I'm not polite. Anyway, he followed the two legendary pirates to cross the sea. He couldn't see it at all. Don't say you're a polite. Somehow, now I see you. You can fight more. In the eyes of Cat and VIP, a white shadow was suddenly turned into a white shadow. When he saw the other person again, he suddenly wielded his claws and grabbed him. Although he raised his knife to block it, Setsuna's claws did not hesitate at all. He used his domineering aura as a defense and directly grabbed the blade of the Cat VIP. An electric current also passed along the blade to his hand. The lightning of the fur tribe is static electricity generated by the friction between their fur. They have a certain resistance to electric current. The current conducted on the blade only made his palm feel a little numb, but it didn't make him lose his grip on his knife. At this time, his other hand also flashed with electricity and hit Setsuna's waist. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Stupid Cat. Today is the full moon. Compared with Setsuna, Inarashi and Cat Viper have an advantage in size. Male fur tribe are generally taller and stronger than female fur tribe. Although Cat Viper was beaten unilaterally yesterday, if he had not been beaten up by a group of big milk tanks first, he would not have been so helpless. Now he can still fight back against Setsuna's attack. Haki is an invisible armor. With the protection of Haki, she used the opponent's blade as a horizontal bar, turned over to avoid Cat Viper's fist, and then kicked Cat Viper's neck with inertia. Cat Viper has an advantage in size, and Setsuna is more flexible. During this process, Cat Viper tried to launch a new attack. Although this made Setsuna give up the attack, his attack failed to hit Setsuna, and Setsuna closed the distance. The blade gave him a longer attack distance, but when the opponent entered his inner circle, the speed of adjusting the blade was not as fast as the speed of punching. Cat Viper's attacks missed one after another, but Setsuna's attacks actually hit him. As Setsuna's elbow hit his abdomen, Cat Viper's face turned ugly. Although he looked bloated, he was not stupid. He was relatively a very flexible player, but his flexibility was much worse than Setsuna's. Cat Viper couldn't find the opponent's figure, which made Cat Viper more and more impatient. After his attack missed again, Setsuna wrapped his legs around his neck. She wanted to take advantage of the situation to deal with Cat Viper, but Setsuna found that she had made a mistake. Cat Viper's neck was too thick and too short, so her attack didn't have any effect. Instead, Cat Viper grabbed her calf. "Finally I caught you. You're really hard to deal with." His voice was a little strange. Setsuna didn't hold back when he attacked just now. If it weren't for his innate body structure that made his neck short, that one blow would have been enough to take him down directly. If he could defeat the opponent by himself, then Cat Viper didn't want Inarashi to intervene. After all, it was not glorious to fight 2 against 1, so he grabbed Setsuna's leg and threw it into the air. "You have nowhere to hide now, admit defeat." He sheathed his sword and made an II pose. People couldn't adjust their poses in the air. When Setsuna fell, he could find a way to defeat the enemy with one blow. So in his opinion, Setsuna had already lost, and he even felt proud. But Inarashi on the side issued a warning. "You stupid cat. Be careful above." Covering his forehead with one hand, Cat Viper looked up, but it was too late. At this time, Setsuna not only did not fall down as he imagined, but floated directly in the air. After stabilizing his body, he launched an attack again. Just when she was about to kick Cat Viper on the head, Inarashi's attack blocked her. If Inarashi didn't take action, the careless Cat Viper might lose his ability to fight directly. You still can't help but do it. But Inarashi didn't answer this question, but asked another question. "A person with special abilities? Did you eat a devil fruit?" The minks themselves don't have the ability to fly. In Arash's opinion, this is a power that can only be brought by devil fruits. There are still many things you don't understand. This is the power I got through my own efforts. It has nothing to do with devil fruits. Electromagnetic levitation is one of the skills taught to her by Arceus. Although it can't fly at super high speed like Zorora, it is enough. Having the ability to fly means that her battle will become more three-dimensional. Work hard. We are also working hard. Inarashi, let this little girl see our results. It's nothing great to be able to fly. Oden sword style. Cats laughing slash. Sorry, Setsuna, we need what we get after victory. Oden sword style. Dog's tooth thrust. One stab, one slash. 2 attacks crossed and attacked Setsuna, but Inarashi and Cat Viper didn't learn skills like moon steps. They couldn't use the power in the sky. Facing Setsuna who could float and fly freely, their attacks fell through. But Setsuna didn't stay in the air all the time. She didn't bring a bow and arrow, which was her usual weapon. If she brought a bow and arrow, then Inarashi and Cat Viper would be her targets. It was not a solution to keep stalemate, but after she lowered her altitude, the combined attack of Inarashi and Cat Viper really made her feel very difficult to deal with. They had been living together for many years and had experienced many fights on the pirate ship outside. Their actual combat experience was much richer than hers. Setsuna, you are too arrogant. You are not a match for the two of us. Just admit defeat. Admit defeat. Do you know why I chose today? The monks were very sensitive to dates. Only when the full moon day was calculated could they carry out some dangerous actions. When Setsuna said this, Inarashi and Cat VIP immediately had a bad premonition. Wait, are you crazy? Moon Lion will die if he loses control. Inarashi shouted angrily. He didn't think Setsuna, who was 2 years younger than them, had mastered this secret technique. However, Setsuna had already looked up at the moon. The full moon was reflected in her eyes. Setsuna's pupils began to shrink under the moonlight. Then her body swayed slightly twice, and the static electricity on her fur began to make noises. Her canine teeth became sharper, and low growls came from her mouth. Her hair was originally tied up with a simple hairband, and the length was only to her shoulders. As she growled, her hair began to grow rapidly. The original hairband was stretched open, and the waist-length hair began to flutter with the sea breeze. The hair on her tail was the same, and the extended hair had been dragged on the beach. AWW. A wolf howl resounded throughout the beach, and a huge electric light rushed into the sky. People living near the beach felt a dazzling white light. Setsuna turned her neck, and her scalded eyes looked at Inarashi and Cat VIP. Come on, the second round begins. You have mastered the Moon Lion? No? Be prepared, this might hurt. Along with a huge electric current, Setsuna's figure suddenly appeared, and the beach, where she was standing, melted under the high temperature of lightning, turning into irregularly shaped glass crystals. Speed, strength, lightning. The Moon Lion brought an all-round enhancement to the Ming tribe. Originally, Inarashi and Cat VIP still had some advantages, but now, their advantages are gone. Wolf Fang Flash. Inarashi couldn't even see Setsuna's movements clearly. He just felt a huge force coming from his chest, and was directly knocked into the sea. Come on, stupid cat, it's a full moon today, we have plenty of time to have fun. Chapter 184. Don't try to understand a fool. The Minks are known as the fighting tribe, which is closely related to the Moon Lion. The fighting power of young Minks is not weaker than that of adult soldiers, and the Minks who master the Moon Lion are real monsters on the night of the full moon. The movement trajectory is unclear, the power is irresistible, and the beach is a completely inhumane one-sided beating. To put it bluntly, the Moon Lion is a berserk skill. Although it can become controllable after training, the Minks in the Moon Lion state will be more ferocious than usual, not to mention that Setsuna himself has a grudge against Cat VIP. Inarashi's strength is on par with Cat VIP. Inarashi was hit into the sea by Setsuna, and Cat VIP was naturally not much stronger. After a beating, the knife made for him by the Gyuli craftsman was also broken into several pieces under Setsuna's claws. Then a knee strike ended the battle. Cat VIP, you lost. Apologize to me honestly, and never come to our territory to make trouble again. Do you understand? Although he said this, Cat VIP lying on the ground did not surrender. Meow. I haven't lost yet. Cat VIP. Don't be stubborn. We have completely lost. Inarashi walked out of the sea with a knife. The previous blow broke 2 of his ribs. As a fur tribe, he knew more about the strength of the Moon Lion than outsiders. In the case of no absolute difference in strength, the untransformed fur tribe could not defeat the transformed fur tribe. No, I said no, I'm also a fur tribe. For Lord Dodden, I must win this time. He turned his head and looked at the moon in the sky. Stop, you can't control that. But it was too late. Cat VIP staring at the moon began to turn white in fur. The changes in his body were similar to those of Setsuna, but the biggest difference was that this guy had no reason in his eyes, only madness. If the fur tribe who cannot control the power of the Moon Lion enters this state, they will attack everyone around them regardless of friend or foe until their power is completely exhausted. Who is this Otten you are talking about? Have you been brainwashed by that guy? Seeing that Cat VIP would rather fight to the death with her than admit defeat, Setsuna couldn't understand it at all. After all, they are of the same tribe, and even if he admits defeat, she won't do anything to him, but he has to make a desperate battle. She really wanted to teach Cat VIP a lesson, but she didn't want to kill him. It is much more difficult to capture him alive than to kill him. But Cat VIP in an out of control state has no reason and even no reaction to pain. Inarashi couldn't intervene in the battle of the two moon lions, and Setsuna was somewhat restrained by Cat VIP. She couldn't even take off to avoid it, otherwise the out of control Cat VIP would target Inarashi. In that state, it wouldn't be surprising if Cat VIP killed Inarashi. Just when she was in trouble, a faster lightning flashed in the forest, and Zerora, who was watching the show, appeared. A small hand pressed on the head of the Cat VIP. Although the size was not proportional, the strength was completely opposite to the body size. The mad Cat VIP was directly pressed into the beach. Zerora, how did you get here? I followed you. Do you think your little tricks can be hidden from me? You still have too little experience in actual combat. The lack of actual combat application made it difficult for her to deal with the changing situation, especially because she was nostalgic and couldn't make a fatal move. Where is your sword dance? You should be able to lift into the air and superimpose sword dance and then knock this madman unconscious. I should have taught you how to do it. If I hadn't come with you, how would you have solved it? In terms of electromagnetic levitation, Zerora is an expert among experts, so she has a lot of skills in air combat, but just now, she seemed to have forgotten those skills. Speaking of other skills, she was a little embarrassed, but in terms of actual combat, she was a little unconvinced. It's not that I don't want to fight, it's you who won't let me go. You always say I'm too young. There were opportunities for fighting, but they were all pushed away by Zerora. Forget it. Come with me next time, if you have a chance. At this moment, the Cat VIP under his hand began to be dishonest again, and electric current began to flash on its fur, trying to force Zerora away. However, that little electric current was not even an appetizer for Zerora. A stronger electric current was released from his hand, and after that, the Cat VIP was completely quiet. This is the simplest way to deal with the crazy fur tribe. Knock him out and let him faint until the moon disappears. After all, Zerora doesn't have skills like healing bells, nor does he have skills like praying for rain to cover the moon. Stunning is the simplest and most effective means. Setsuna released her moon lion form, so there will be no trouble when Zerora comes. This is a kind of trust she has developed in Zerora over the years. He's not dead, is he? No, I was very careful in my attack, but are these your two acquaintances? Not very good. Hey, take this annoying guy away. This was said to Inarashi. If he used a power that he couldn't control in the face of a life and death enemy, Zerora could still admire him. But in this situation, using a skill that he couldn't control was considered a fool who didn't know the seriousness of the matter in Zerora's eyes. Lightning. Zerora he recognized the other party's identity. When Zerora was bountied, Inarashi and Cat VIP were still sailing with Odin, so they naturally received the news. Zerora was the fur tribe with the highest bounty on the sea. But at that time, he didn't pay much attention to the details on the bounty order, and only thought that it was a fur tribe that had drifted overseas in his early years. Now he knew that the other party was actually a member of the beasts, and he looked very familiar with Setsuna. He knocked out Cat VIP in the state of Moon Lion with a normal attack, which already showed how powerful the other party was. Although his words were not pleasant to hear, Inarashi knew that this time it was Cat VIP who went too far and actually used Moon Lion forcibly. Setsuna did not say anything, but Inarashi knew very well that after the incident with Cat VIP, the relationship between the three of them would not be the same as it was 7 years ago. By the way, the last incident is over. If you come to the farm again, I will be the one to take action. Remember to keep an eye on the cat. Otherwise, don't blame me if you die. Inarashi's face was worthless in Zerora, but he had to take care of Setsuna's feelings. He couldn't just kill her former companion. The battle on the beach ended here, but Setsuna still had a question. Zerora, why do you think that bastard Cat VIP did this? I don't know, but this behavior is enough to show that he is a fool with no brains. You can't understand the thinking of a fool. Don't think about it. I'll grill the fish for you when we get back. No, Zerora, you always burn the fish. Let me do it. Looking at Zerora in front of her, Setsuna chose to put aside the unpleasantness. She was afraid that she would never have any intersection with Cat Viper again in the future. Chapter 185. My last name is Sasuke. In Arashi and Cat Viper still did not return directly to Odin Castle, but stayed outside for a few days, and returned to Odin Castle after healing their surface injuries. And the matter on Kiri Beach was naturally sent to Onigashima. Setsuna had a fight with the Tafur tribes. Well, Zerora also took action in the end, but the influence of that incident was limited. Master Holy Beast, and this matter is more important. Shaina took out a single document from a pile of documents, and handed it to Arceus. This is the order in which the beasts handle things. The highest priority is matters related to the slate, and the next is matters related to the members of the pirate group. Who had a fight with whom, did anyone violate the discipline, etc. But this matter is indeed a bit unexpected. Kajiro was assassinated in Hanano Metropolis. As the exclusive merchant of the Beast's pirates, he is also considered a member of the Beast's pirates. Since Kinemon's younger brother was caught in the mining field for causing trouble last time, no one has bothered Kajiro again. With the support of the Beast's pirates, Kajiro's business in the flower capital is booming, and has begun to expand to other towns in Wano country. The market share in Wano country is limited. Previously, Kajiro's family fell into decline, and his family's market was taken away by others. But now with his rise again, he not only got back what he lost, but also opened up a wider market. He has too many things that Wano country doesn't have, and his family is considered a time-honored brand in Wano country. With this name, his family has even surpassed the previous one, but the number of people has not been supplemented, and he is still the only one in the main family. In this case, it can be said that the Chamber of Commerce is completely supported by Kajiro alone. As long as he disappears, the huge Chamber of Commerce will inevitably be affected. His behavior has touched the cake of many people, and money can move people's hearts. In this case, someone will naturally do something dirty. How is he? Is he seriously injured? If Kajiro is dead, then the information report should be that Kajiro was killed. This result at least shows that he is still alive. No, not only was he not injured, but he also killed the other party and captured 2 people alive. He is outside now. He seems to want to see you for something. Bring him here. Outside Onigashima, Kajiro has become very familiar with the pirates here. Now he is telling the crowd what happened last night. These guys really dare to commit crimes in the flower capital. Thanks to my Zyoka, my family has fallen into poverty. Except for a few old people who continue to follow me, there is only this dog left. Kajiro rubbed the head of the big dog in his arms. It was an ordinary Shiba Inu, which looked quite old. He raised it when he was a child. Now he sleeps with this dog at night. Those people's footsteps were very light, but it's a pity that Zyoka smelled the smell on their bodies. It's not professional at all. Compared to this, how did you kill that guy? Those guys are not weak. A pirate with a bandage on his shoulder asked him. They were the pirates who followed Kajiro. However, it was too peaceful these days, so they relaxed their vigilance, and as a result, the group of people sneaked in. Now the punishment is inevitable, but Kajiro is fine, so the punishment will not be too severe. And this is what makes them curious. After all, those people are still quite capable. They are all people who have survived several fights. Although they have not become Kadas, they are also proficient in fighting skills. Even they were injured, which shows the strength of those assassins. Especially that day they saw Kajiro couldn't even row a boat steadily, and they always thought of him as a weak chicken. Well, do you know why I'm the only one left in our family? Although they are already familiar with each other, they don't want to interrupt, just quietly waiting for Kajiro's answer. Because I can fight. Don't underestimate me. I know I. In fact, my family used to be a samurai family, and we have produced many strong people. I heard from my grandfather that our previous surname was Sasuke. Commoners in Wano do not have surnames. Only samurai and nobles have surnames. The name Kajiro once had means that the family surname has been taken away. But that is their complicated family history, and these pirates are not interested in it. So we should call you Sasuke Kajiro? No, that surname is a thing of the past. I want to create a new one, an era that belongs to me, Kajiro. Then you are really amazing. but can you show us your sword drawing / first? Forget it, that move is too dangerous. Although he just said that he was very powerful, in fact, he only knew that one move. The killer didn't expect Kojiro to sleep with the knife, so he was killed by him. It is said that his ancestor was a swordsman who could cut down a flying swallow in the sky with a casual swing of his hand, so this move is called swallow return. However, after so many years, he has never seen anyone in his family do it. He is indeed the best fighter in the family, but it is only relative. Compared with those real strong men, it does not count at all. Last night, he was already performing beyond his ability under life and death. It is okay to brag verbally, but it will be bad if he accidentally makes things worse. However, the pirates did not want to let him go and kept making trouble. Just then, Shaina appeared. Come with me, the Lord of the Holy Beast wants to see you. And you guys, are you all free? Do whatever you need to do. Yes. The appearance of the Minister of Discipline ended the slacking life of these pirates, and Kojiro was also brought to Arceus. As for those who were captured alive, they have been sent to Jin. What do you want to say? Well, Lord Holy Beast, I've been doing pretty well recently, haven't I? You're really good at business, so what? Apart from the initial goods and background support, Kojiro has been almost on his own since then. It didn't take him too long to go from being a peddler pulling a cart to reopening the Chamber of Commerce. He also worked hard to gather the refugees caused by Orochi, and the results he achieved were visible. So, can I make a small request? If those people can assassinate once, they may do it again. I think my situation is a bit dangerous, and I heard that you have a way to make people stronger quickly. Those people from the cult of Arceus spared no effort in promoting this, so Kojiro also knew the legend of the Beast's pirates. However, what those people spread was a bit outrageous, so outrageous that CP9, who were investigating intelligence, thought it was a brainwashing method of the Beast's pirates, so they thought it might be a smoker screen released by the Beasts to cover up Quinn's technology. So you want to get the ability? Chapter 186 Catty Dog. That is for people who have made meritorious contributions. Although Kojiro has no military achievements, as the first local to surrender in Wano country, he has helped the Beasts to make many achievements in Wano country, so he can be said to be a meritorious person. In theory, it is not wrong to give him an ability. During this period, the Beast's pirates have gathered a lot of ordinary animal type fruits. And if Kojiro really gets into trouble, it will not be so easy to find another suitable person. It is also necessary to increase his self-protection ability. No, that's not what I mean. Can you transform Zyaoka? He raised his Shiba Inu. The dog is already 12 years old. After all, he raised it when he was a child. Now it is also an old dog. If there is no external intervention, I'm afraid that this Shiba Inu will leave him in 1 or 2 years. As a local who joined the Beast's pirates, he knows where those Kintaro and Milken came from. The second generation of cattle called Wajaiu has appeared on the nobles' tables in Wano country. Because he had been in contact with those species, he could sense that the modified cows were much stronger and healthier than the native cows of Wano country. The diseases that normal calves would get would not happen to those cows with Kintaro blood. Catcher is very smart. It was it that discovered the killers first this time. If I can make Catcher stronger, I will be safer. You can only get a reward once for what you did now. Do you really want to give this reward to this dog? Can it make it live longer? Of course. The lifespan of Pokémon is much longer than that of ordinary animals. Some special Pokémon have a very long lifespan. If they are raised well, they can be passed down as heirlooms. Then please help me transform Catcher. Since Kojiro asked so, he did not refuse. A red energy hand picked up the Shiba Inu. Catcher. Then become the real Catcher. The red energy was injected into the Shiba Inu's body, and the originally yellow fur began to transform into red, and there were more lines on it. The hair on the chest and the top of the head also became more vigorous. After a while, as the energy dissipated, a Katie appeared here. Like Kintaro, it was permanently transformed. Zyaoka seemed to have not yet gotten used to his new body, but he could feel that his body had become stronger because the weakness brought by old age had disappeared. This Shiba Inu now had a new life as a Katie. Woof, woof. Well, Go and get along well with your master, and remember to protect him in the future. In fact, it was already doing so. The old Shiba Inu rarely played with Kojiro, because his physical strength could no longer support it playing every day. But after regaining its vitality, it was licking Kojiro like crazy. You should live on Ghost Island for the time being. Those businesses should be able to run normally without you. It's okay for a short period of time, but it won't work for too long. Enough. By the way, I heard that your family used to be named Sasaki, and it's a family of swordsmanship? This? I just heard from my grandfather. I don't know if it's true. He didn't expect that his bragging would be heard here. It seems that he still underestimated the other party's control over Ghost Island. After all, you have some basics. During this period of time, you can practice with others to see how your foundation is. With that, he decided on Kojiro's next arrangements. By the way, Shaina, give him the relevant information about the 100 Beasts fruit. Kojiro, who crawled out from under Zioka, took over a thick stack of records. The business of the 100 Beasts fruit is getting wider and wider, and the business is getting bigger and bigger. At present, it is a bit lacking in business talents. If Kojiro really has this ability, then these things can be handed over to him gradually. Work hard. As long as you are capable enough, you will get what you deserve. Kojiro was sent to a room on Onigashima. It was still very empty, and many things were considered when Onigashima was built. Even giants could run around here, not to mention that there was a room for one person and one dog. Master Shengju, the news has been found, but there is no valuable information on those two people. They are just ordinary thugs on the street, and they don't even have the same boss. They all said the same thing. A mysterious man wearing a bamboo hat wants Kojiro's head for 500 gold. They knew that Kojiro was behind the beast pirates, but they were still tempted by the huge profits. As long as they could kill the other party and destroy the body, their whereabouts would be impossible to be found. They even found kerosene from those people. Most of the houses in Wano country are made of wood. Once ignited, there would probably be nothing left. Although there is no detailed information, it is not that complicated who is behind them. They are either businessmen who are jealous of Kojiro, or Kirizumi Orochi. After all, Kojiro's business behavior is also robbing him of his money. Kirizumi Orochi didn't dare to confront the beasts directly, but there was still a possibility that he might do something behind the scenes. Hand these two people over to Kirizumi Orochi. I want to see the news of the public execution in the flower capital within a few days. Intent to kill. Although Kojiro was fine, it was still a capital crime. The appeasement of the beasts did not treat themselves as soft persimmons. If they cooperated, everyone would be fine. If they resisted, it was nothing. But doing this kind of behavior was unforgivable. If this kind of thing was not handled seriously, the dignity of the beasts pirates in Wano country would be gone. As for why it was handed over to Orochi, it was naturally to see his reaction. Even if he could be patient, if he really did it, some clues would eventually be revealed. I understand. By the way, Lord Seiju, according to our investigation, most of the gangsters in Flower Capital are headed by Hayagoro. He is a hero and spiritual role model in the hearts of those gangsters in Wano country. Even the gangsters in other villages will give him some face. Many gangsters regard him as a hero. If he can be made obedient, then no gangster will be willing to do such things in the future. The special product that grew up in the background of Wano country, the gangs, and the composition of the gangs here is extremely complex. The most ordinary gangsters are the same as those outside, living by exploiting the villagers. But people like Hayagoro have become a kind of folk organization. Although he is not an official identity, he has a say with several daimyos, and his people will deal with some small matters in the village more quickly. When natural disasters occur, they will even be at the forefront of disaster relief. Hayagoro has a high status among them, and even many civilians respect him very much. Chapter 187, Bing Walang and the Millennium Dragon grazing cotton. I remember Kojiro's report mentioned him, and they had some contact. Yes, according to our intelligence, Hayagoro is disgusted with Kirizumi Orochi's behavior, and he also admires Kojiro's previous behavior of recruiting refugees. He thinks Kojiro is a chivalrous businessman. But those hooligans still attacked Kojiro. After all, not everyone obeys him, but according to the information sent back by Yauko, he seems to be looking for the mastermind behind the scenes. Lord Holy Beast, the national conditions here in Wano country are completely different from those outside, and sometimes we don't understand what they are thinking. Hyagoro's attitude is now a neutral attitude. The people behind Kajero are the Beast's pirates. People with some status in Wano country are very clear about this. And Hyagoro, like most people, has not completely accepted the existence of the Beast's pirates, but when Kajero's Chamber of Commerce resettled the refugees caused by Kirizumi Orochi, Hyagoro helped him. So his classification was temporarily classified as accessible by the Beasts. Let Kajero go and test his attitude after a while. As for now, we should reorganize the public security issues in the flower capital before the execution. The mines should be staffed again. In this way, the gangsters who had just emerged were once again purged by the Beasts and sent to the mines to start their labor reform life. Kirizumi Orochi also received this news. Public execution? Yes, Lord Orochi, the Beasts have sent those two people here. They tried to assassinate Kajero, who joined the Beasts a few days ago, and also planned to set fire, but failed. What a pity. Kirizumi Orochi sighed, feeling sorry that they failed, but these two were really not arranged by him, because among all the people in Wano country, he was the one who knew Kaido's horror the most. He was also very satisfied with the current situation. Although it was not particularly satisfactory, he had achieved his goals in a few aspects. In this case, he didn't want to offend the Beasts at all. Lord, what about us? As usual, do what they say and tell the truth. It's not that he didn't want to exaggerate, but he didn't have the opportunity. Although this matter was thrown to him, he knew very well that the Beast's pirates would definitely send someone to keep an eye on him. In such a place, that might affect their reputation, the Beasts always kept a strict watch. After this person left, Orochi said to the person behind him, Fukirakuju, is that news confirmed? Fukirakuju, the leader of Orochi's Oniwa Banshu, that is, the captain of his personal guard, is quite powerful and an excellent ninja. He has a pair of long earlobes, which is his unique weapon. His skull is also very long, but this is all due to the physical mutation caused by anger. He has a frail sister, Fukumi. Because she was still chanting Reizo's name when she died, Fukirakuju regarded Reizo as the murderer, and his earlobes and skull have become longer since then. He hates Reizo very much, and is very loyal to Orochi. Kirizumi Musashi and Kirizumi Chanmaru are too old, so Kirizumi Orochi has handed over many things to Fukirakuju. It's confirmed. Lord Orochi, Kazuki Oden has sent his family back to Wano country, and they are now in Oden Castle in Kuri. Very good. You go and arrange this matter yourself, and you can contact me when necessary. We still have a hidden card to activate. In the end, all those who participated in the assassination of Kajero were executed under the live broadcast of the video snail, and the charges were murder and attempted arson. In the eyes of ordinary people, these are just a group of criminals. Some people were so scared by this action that they trembled all over and secretly dealt with several subordinates. They are the real masterminds behind the scenes. They came up with such a shady trick when they couldn't compete with the other party in business. Now they are worried about being discovered, so they did this. In the eyes of Oden's retainers in Kuri, this is synonymous with the brutality of the Beasts. For the Beasts, these people are dangerous element to assassinate their own people, and in their eyes, these people are resisting the Beasts, but the resistance failed. Inarashi and Cat VIP have never explained what happened at the beginning, and because of their appearance and brains, they can't help, so there is no practical significance, except that Oden Castle has a few more mouths. The most profitable business in Wano is in the hands of Kirizumi Orochi and the Beast's pirates. They are unwilling to get involved in that kind of business, so they can only live in poverty. However, they are really ruthless. They save money, so that Kazuki and the others don't feel the current situation of poverty. As for how they live, Beasts don't care. Cat VIP personally sent away the only person who might help him. At this time, Arceus and the Beast's pirates is planning a new sailing route. In addition to the things that have been arranged in the country, the herders of beasts have also begun to appear in the Heim area, but they are not releasing Quintero or Milky Can, but Shuttlecock Cotton and Wine Fairy. Food, clothing, Housing and transportation. They are not easy to intervene in housing and transportation now, but they have begun to expand their business in clothing. Haim's original plan was to transform it into arable land, but the soil there has been abandoned for a long time. Although he used the power of the water slab to comb the underground water veins, it will take some time to prosper again. Based on the principle of not wasting, a new batch of Pokemon appeared there. The grass slab created a brand new Pokemon, and the purpose was cotton. Whether it is the shuttlecock cotton or the wind fairy, their hair is high quality cotton. Whether it is woven into cloth or used as filling material, it is top notch, which also provides some work for the people gathered by the Kajiro Chamber of Commerce. Men can work in factories and farms, but women can't. They can't do some physical work at all. They can't send all of them to Yaokao, and that kind of thing doesn't fit their current style. After some people were sent to Gideo to rinse clothes, there were still many people left, and they couldn't support them for nothing, so they had this new job. Comb the hair of the wind fairy and the shuttlecock cotton, cut their hair, and process the gathered hair. And because of their characteristics, they will float with the wind when the wind blows, and the shuttlecock cotton will release spores, and the scattered spores will fall on the land and form new plants. In order to control their floating direction, the Millennium Dragons also have their own work. At this time, Alga is riding on the Millennium Dragon to do special grazing work. Over there, those are about to fly away, blow them back. Several thousand-year-old dragons in the shape of ancestral birds flapped their wings together, creating an airflow that gathered the wind fairies and shuttlecock cotton that were scattered in the wind together. Chapter 188, The Mountain God of Wano Country. Floating with the wind is the characteristic of the cotton and wind goblins. If the wind is too strong, they don't know where they will be blown to. However, due to the unique terrain of Wano Country, there is a special cyclone outside. That cyclone is one of the reasons why the offshore environment outside Wano Country is dangerous. And now it also brings a benefit, that is, because the wind generated by the cyclone will keep the cotton and wind goblins in Wano Country, and will not fly to other seas, because of a gust of wind. The Millennium Dragon was originally prepared as an air cavalry, but there is no place in the beasts that needs this air cavalry to fight, so this team has its own grazing work. The gusts of wind created by the Millennium Dragon flapping its wings can just control their movement. Quinn is manufacturing a large blower to allow ordinary people to perform special grazing on them. These are the necessary conditions for the growth of cotton and wind goblins. They are grass attribute Pokemon, and sunlight is an indispensable part of their growth. The cotton production cycle of the shuttlecock cotton is relatively long, but it is different for the wind goblins. Now there are many people below who are helping the wind goblins comb their hair and cut their hair. For the wind goblins, cotton is their hair, and their hair grows very fast and is very unstable. If the wind is too strong, the cotton on their heads will be torn off by the wind. If it rains, the cotton on their heads will become heavy due to water absorption and will directly press them to the ground and they can't move. In the end, they can only leave it to fate. On sunny days, the cotton on their bodies will swell after being exposed to the sun. If it swells too much, it will tear the cotton apart and scatter it everywhere. So the job of the people below is to take them off before their hair swells to a certain extent. The working scene is very happy because the wind goblins are Pokemon who like to play pranks. They will not forget this when they are combing their hair, and often cotton balls will be thrown on other people's faces. In the sky are flying wind goblins and shuttlecock cotton, and in another area on the ground there is another species, white fluff. It looks like an ordinary grass with a lot of cotton wool growing on its head, but it won't run away when the wind blows it away. The three Pokemons, White Buff, Wind Fairy, and Shuttlecock Cotton, produce three different kinds of cotton, with very different softness and toughness. Only after mixed weaving can the most perfect and comfortable fabric be obtained, and different goods can be obtained after adjusting the ratio. Now the White Puffs are sewing, and the cotton wool on their heads contains a lot of seeds. These seeds are rich in nutrients, and can be processed as special food. It is said that they can strengthen the body for both people and Pokemon. Some seeds will also be fried and dried, and processed into dried fruits, which will be sold together with tree fruits and dried fruits. However, more of them are sown on the land of Haim. These seeds can bring nutrients to the earth, make the grass and trees more vibrant, and effectively improve the environment in Heim. Farming is originally a hard job, not to mention opening up wasteland on land like Heim. Women are not suitable for such things. However, the special nature of giant Zimian and Bei Peng Peng means that they don't need to cultivate the land, they just need to take Bei Peng Peng around. Children can also be seen among them, but they are more likely to play with these magical creatures, and in the end they are also covered with seeds. The Millennium Dragon hovered in the sky, trying to control the wind, but there would still be some wind fairies floating out of the range, and at this time people had to be sent to find them back. The air cavalry of the 100 beasts is based on the Millennium Dragon. Each Millennium Dragon and the 4 people on its back are organized into a group. There are 2 groups of people who are responsible for bringing back the scattered wind fairies outside. But now there seems to be a little accident. A Millennium Dragon is flying here at high speed. Sister Olga, something happened. A giant pig ran out of the barren mountain near Julie, and it will rush here at this rate. Pig? Yes, it's a big wild boar. The attacks of the rocket launcher and the Millennium Dragon are not effective at all. Most of the members of the air cavalry participated in the original treasure hunt, so they knew the true identity of the Millennium Dragon. It's just that no one publicizes this matter. They are just strange birds called Millennium Dragons. As for why birds are called dragons, it's a personal hobby. Who cares? Olga looked in the direction of his finger. A huge white wild boar was rushing here. The huge smoke and dust behind it also attracted the attention of the residents of Wano country who were combing the hair of the wind fairy below. That's the mountain god. Why is the mountain god angry again? The giant species that grows native to Wano country. Even the longest fangs exposed at the corners of the mouth are nearly 2 meters. The leader of the Millennium Dragon is not here. The largest of the remaining Millennium Dragons is much inferior to that pig. The height of more than 10 meters makes it even taller than the average giant. Because of this huge size and rare white fur, this wild boar is worshipped as a mountain god in Wano country. Many years ago, it was also angry. That time it destroyed most of the town and ate many people. Finally, it was cut in half by Kazuki Oden with a sword to rescue the person in its belly. However, because Oden's sword was too fast and the pig's vitality was too tenacious, it was revived after being stitched up. Needless to say, the people below have already started to flee, but they have nowhere to escape in this vast wasteland. Big sister, what should we do? What should we do? Of course we will stop it. The things here have just been repaired not long ago. We can't let it be destroyed. You guys take the shuttlecock cotton and wind goblins away. You guys go and contain it. Don't be afraid. That guy can't fly. Below is the newly repaired cotton ranch and the dormitory of Pokemon such as wind goblins. If the wild boar rushes in, then things will be troublesome, and the efforts of the recent period will be in vain. And the residents below will probably suffer heavy losses. The threat posed by wild boars to humans is among the top among all kinds of wild animals. The Beast Air Cavalry launched their first combat mission, but the wild boar was too tough and the bombardment from above failed to stop it, but instead stimulated its ferocity. Olga tried to use an illusion to create a wall to trick it, but the Mad Mountain God wild boar had no intention of stopping. Why is this thing crazy? It seems to be looking for its child, the Millennium Dragon. That Olga Road gave the answer. It is the son of the Millennium Dragon Chief, and the reason why he can speak is because he ate the primitive fruit not long ago. Chapter 189. Even if I'm a pig, I have to find a way to pay my debts. As an ancient species of the human fruit, there is no record of its related abilities in the illustrations. Rather than giving it to a human being to eat, it is better to let animals eat it to play its advantages. Chopper, who ate the human fruit in the form of an ordinary person, has proved this point. The combat power of the Millennium Dragon itself is much stronger than that of an ordinary reindeer. Although the Millennium Dragon has the transformed form of the ancestral bird, Arceus's transformation is not a devil fruit. Although the transformation form is unique due to physical limitations, the directly transformed creatures can still eat devil fruits. People who gain abilities through the transformation fruit cannot eat the second fruit. However, even if most people have gained abilities without eating the fruit, they don't mean to find another fruit to eat. Fear of seawater and sea stone is a very deadly debuff. At least they won't be tempted by ordinary abilities. Facts have proved that this primitive fruit is already very close to the type of modern humans. Although it is stronger and rougher, its intelligence has been improved. After eating the primitive fruit, speaking is no longer difficult for it, which also allows the air cavalry of the beasts to communicate better. It could understand the meaning of the big wild boar's roar, so it figured out the reason why it went crazy and conveyed it to Olga. What is it doing here with the child? But after figuring out the reason, it became easy to stop it. Even though it was huge, it was still just a wild boar, and its intelligence was not as good as that of humans. Zorok's illusion was not something that even humans with low levels of observation and hearing could see through, let alone a wild boar. It didn't realize that the city wall was fake before, but the madness after losing the child made it crash straight into the city wall. Olga hated this kind of fool the most. After all, her current illusion was fake. It was easy to break when encountering a fool with brute force, but it was easy to deal with it when she knew the root cause. You guys hold it for a while. I'll be back soon. As he said that, he drove his Millennium Dragon to fly away from the people who wanted to escape and found out the appearance of the mountain god's child from their mouths and then used the illusion to make a fake little wild boar. This time, the mountain god was temporarily deceived, but this was not a long-term solution. She could not always maintain this illusion. Where did the piglet go? The pig called the mountain god seemed to have a great symbolic meaning in Wano country, so much so that Kazuki Oden cut it in half and sewed it back together after rescuing people last time. So they were thinking about how to send the pig back. According to past experience, as long as they found the piglet, they would be fine. It seems to be saying to your illusion, don't chase any strange things anymore. It will be troublesome if it is kidnapped. Go and name those wind fairies and see which one is missing. The importance of knowing a foreign language was fully reflected at this moment because the Millennium Dragon could understand what the pig meant and everything became easy. Occasionally, a few wind fairies would run out of the ranch. If it didn't rain, they would run back by themselves when the wind stopped. During the time they were missing, they usually did some mischievous things, such as throwing hair randomly in other people's homes, causing cotton to be everywhere in the house. However, this did not cause those people to be disgusted. Cotton is a good thing. The cotton discarded by a wind fairy is enough for them to make a small cotton hat. They call it the gift of the god of cotton. According to the character of those wind fairies, if one of them really floated into the deep mountains, it is very likely that it would be lured out because it was fun to see the piglet. Because the wind fairies and cotton will float with the wind and the wind fairies like to play pranks, it is necessary to call their names every night to make sure that they all come back. Therefore, those wind fairies are numbered, and if one is missing, you can find out by just calling their names. As for how to find the missing wind fairies, other wind fairies can smell the unique scent of their companions, so they can take other wind fairies to find them. After calling their names, those who left with the wind fairies quickly found the missing wind fairies, and there were more than one. Big Sister, number 18, number 29 and number 31 are all missing. Then go find them. Do you think I have time to spare? The subordinate looked at the bucket of roasted cotton seeds that Olga was holding, thought for a while, but still didn't dare to say that she was very idle. At this time, he also envied the life of the Kadas. In fact, the competition within the Beast's Pirates is fierce. If you want to get the same status as the other party, then challenging is the best way. After several years of training, Olga is no longer a reserve who cannot be challenged, but those who try to challenge her have been played badly by her illusion. Challenging other Kadas will result in being beaten, but challenging Olga may result in beating yourself. Not only will it hurt, but it will also be embarrassing. And Olga really can't spare her hands. She must keep her illusion ability within this range, but other than that, it doesn't matter. It is now easy for him to create an illusion to deceive a giant pig. Finally, they found a white wild boar in a barn nearby. Compared with its huge parent, its body can be said to be very small. But the problem is that this warehouse is used to store white fluffy seeds, and now those seeds have been eaten by the 3 wind fairies and the piglets. Judging from their bulging bellies, this wild boar may be the main force. Is this thing so edible? This is going to be delivered in a few days. Looking at the empty warehouse, Olga felt a little complicated. Sister, I think it hasn't been long since it was eaten. Otherwise He drew out the knife from his waist and gestured to the wild boar. It might be in time to kill the pig and get the seeds. Forget it, it's all eaten by the pig. Others probably can't eat it either. Let others decide how to deal with this pig. Originally, this matter was very simple. Just find the piglet and send it back. After all, these things were caused by these wind fairies who ran away. Because of the uncontrollable nature of wind power, this kind of thing happens from time to time, but it is not certain that this piglet has eaten up all the goods. Although the white fluffy will produce new seeds again in a day or two, the delay is certain. Moreover, the wild boar has thick skin and strong vitality, plus its symbolic meaning. She thinks someone might be interested in it. Nowadays, there are more and more strange animals in the Beast's Pirates, but there are none of this size. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190. Wild boars will never be slaves, unless they are provided with food and shelter. When Arceus arrived here, the mountain god boar had already laid down. In its illusion, it thought it had returned to the deep mountains, and the little boar was still digesting the seeds produced by the white puff in its stomach. The first thing Arceus did, after arriving here, was to send away the wind fairies that surrounded it. They were bolder than other Pokemon and directly surrounded its feet, making it almost impossible for him to step. Okay, go back to the room. Be careful or you will be blown away. After sending all the wind fairies back, he continued to look at the huge boar. Some charred scars can be seen on its back, which were the traces left by the previous rocket bombing, but for it, they were completely superficial injuries, and they have healed naturally over time. Not long ago, a very brave wind fairy played with its nose, and was almost blown away in one breath. Kachiro, when did this wild boar start to be called the mountain god? This time he brought Kachiro, a local, with him, because there are some things that only these locals are familiar with. My grandfather told me this legend when I was a child. Anyway, it's been a long time. No one knows how long this wild boar has lived. Last time, it destroyed many houses. Even so, do they still regard this boar as a mountain god? Yes, Lord Arceus, because this wild boar has no natural enemies in Wano country, so most people think that it is a god born from the mountains of Wano country. If we can subdue it, then in the eyes of ordinary people, it means that the will of the mountains here has recognized us. Controllable beliefs are conducive to the rule of the ruling class, and this mountain god wild boar will not leave the mountains on weekdays, so they let this pig live there. Very good, Olga. Dispel the illusion. Understood. She snapped her fingers. This was not a necessary action to dispel the illusion, but to show the people around that she had done so. However, in the sight of the mountain god wild boar, everything turned to ashes. But before it could react, it felt a terrifying pressure coming from the side, and its legs softened, and it couldn't stand up. This kind of fear has only been experienced once, since it grew to this size. The last time, the man with the double swords made it feel terrified, but compared to this time, that man was nothing. Don't be afraid, this is your child. It's fine, and it ate a lot of our goods. Two vines rolled up the piglet, and put it next to the mountain god wild boar. The loss of goods will cause us losses, so now I give you two ways. One is to surrender, and the other is to beat you into submission. Which one do you want to choose? Arceus took a fancy to the symbolic significance of this pig in Wano country. After all, taming the mountain god is also a feat. When the time comes, it will be handed over to Kachiro, and through the operation activities, it should be able to resolve the resistance of many people. Moreover, even if this size can only bump around, it can cause considerable damage. At that time, if the pig is transformed, it will be a ready-made war weapon with this size. It will not play any role in the face of the strong, but on the battlefield of the future, it will be a real killer. But this matter is not urgent, it can be put aside for now. After all, there are no major battles now. Although a lot of food is needed, the waste produced every day can also make a lot of fertilizer, which is quite cost effective. Facing an extremely powerful individual, it is normal for animals to choose to surrender. This mountain god wild boar has no interest in being beaten. A few years ago, that person could cut it in half, and now this more terrifying person might be able to roast it directly into a suckling pig. But it asked a question that is crucial to pigs. Is it provided with food? In the end, the mountain god wild boar surrendered to the other party on the condition that the beast's pirates would be responsible for its food in the future, and was then assigned to Kajiro. With this wild boar in Caterpie, his own safety is basically no problem. Moreover, during the training of a few days, Jin thought that Kajiro had some talent in swordsmanship, but he had not experienced any rigorous training since childhood, which led to the waste of this talent. Now even if he picked it up again, he could not reach the level he could have achieved before. However, Kajiro did not regret this, and he was very satisfied with his current treatment. A few days later, when he rode the giant wild boar back to the vicinity of Flower City, it did cause a sensation among the local people. Many people thought that the wild boar was going crazy again. However, when they found out the truth, as Kajiro thought, more people accepted his chamber of commerce. Some old stubborn people who resisted foreign products before changed their minds. They thought that this was the will of God. Kajiro took advantage of the situation and operated an event to collect juice bottle caps for prizes. As long as you can collect all types of bottle caps, you can exchange them for a bonus of 100 gold. The purpose of the event is to advertise, and the bonus can really be exchanged, but it is impossible to collect them in a short time. It's not that he didn't make them, but that the 2 rarest bottle caps are in his hands. He will not release these 2 bottle caps until the event achieves the expected effect. On the other side, near the rabbit bowl factory, Quinn came here alone. It was already late at night, and even the factory had stopped working long ago. Now there are not enough people willing to work in the factory to work in 3 shifts, so there are no workers in the factory at this time. Quinn came to the drainage pipe. "Little cuties? Are you there? I'm here again." With his shout, a ball of colorful mud gradually gathered in the cracks of the ground, and several Alola region-shaped slimes crawled out following the sound. "Beto, I brought it for you." He opened 2 boxes, one of which contained the bitter Pokemon Puffin, and the other contained the toxic waste produced in his experiment. Since the slimes came into being, those wastes have become feed for the slimes, and Quinn has become the member of the Beast's Pirates who has the best relationship with these slimes. The toxin crystals produced by the Alola slimes are very much to his liking. They are complex toxins that he has never seen before. He has discovered dozens of unknown toxins, which has given him more configurations for his plague bombs. Seeing that the slimes were eating happily, Quinn took out a large syringe, but there was no needle. "I still need some research products. Who will come this time?" His target is the body secretions of the slimes. In addition to the toxin crystals, the secretions of the slimes also contain some unknown viruses, which are also what he is studying. Since Alola mud does not secrete these liquids, they must be extracted with a syringe. Chapter 191 The few good days left for Yamato. Biduo several stinky slimes waved at him. He understood what they meant and told him to do it himself, and not to disturb them from eating snacks. The bodies of stinky slimes are made of poisonous mud. Unless they are attacked by other Pokemon skills, ordinary physical attacks cannot hurt them. Their bodies are very similar to Caribou, who ate the swamp fruit. It's not the first time Quinn has done this. These stinky slimes also like this good guy who always brings them desserts, so they just let Quinn do whatever he wants. Then Quinn picked a few of the brightest colors and extracted a part of the strangely colored liquid from each stinky slime and put it into a sealed bottle. Due to the different appetites of individuals, the proportion of toxins in the stinky slimes is also different. The effect is the strongest after mixing. These liquids look colorful, but they are actually weapons of mass destruction. If he doesn't pay attention, he will be affected, so he always carries the original peach fruit. The sold version of peach fruit is just delicious, but the original version can detoxify. After that, he collected some of the toxin crystals that Stinky Mud had shed, and was ready to leave. "Okay, you guys continue. I'll go first." Beto Stinky Mud's head turned 180 degrees to bid farewell to Quinn, and on Onigashima, the origin sailing preparations were also completed. But before departure, Yamato was being lectured. To be precise, she was not the only one being lectured. Jack and Mariah were standing by, but it was obvious that Yamato was the mastermind. In the office, where the Beast's pirates handle external affairs, many documents were scattered all over the floor. As the few children on Onigashima, the three of them were naturally familiar with each other, and it was common for them to play together. But although Mariah and Jack had advantages in height and age, Yamato was the leader of the three. She was Kaido's biological daughter and Arceus' adopted daughter, and only she dared to come here. Yamato, didn't I tell you that there are some places you can't run around in? Sorry, Godfather, I was having so much fun that I forgot. It was just a simple game of hide and seek, but the scope was the entire Onigashima. The building that allowed the giants to run around in was very empty for the three children. Because he couldn't find anyone, Yamato didn't pay attention to what room this was, and then he rushed in. Then he accidentally knocked down the documents on the table. Originally, Shaina was here, but she had just gone with Arceus to check the situation of the origin, so Yamato ran in. Clean up here, you two are not allowed to help her. Even if he cared about her a lot in the past 2 years, he couldn't just spoil her blindly. If she made a mistake, she had to be punished, but he wouldn't raise his hand like Kaido and hit her with a stick. That kind of education would be problematic. Since she messed up here, she had to clean it up by herself, and no one could interfere. The same goes for Mariah and Jack. When he and Shaina returned here, there was only Yamato in the room. These two were called in afterwards. It might be a talent problem. If she wanted to destroy something, she could do it, but it was difficult for her to organize things. It took her more than half an hour to completely organize the scattered documents. Although it was not very neat, it was obvious that she was trying her best to restore it to its original state, but the order had been completely disrupted. There were no page numbers on the documents, and she didn't know many words now, so it was definitely impossible for her to restore it. This is the first time and the last time, do you understand? Got it? Okay, let's just let it go this time. Go back and rest. We are going out to sea tomorrow. He was not too strict with Yamato now, and she didn't have many good days left. When Kaido's training began, she couldn't relax like this every day. Jack thought that Yamato would be punished in other ways, because he would be punished to stand when he messed things up, but the result seemed to be a little different for Yamato. The Jigglypuff who took care of them would also give priority to Yamato's problems. For some reason, he suddenly felt that this world was a little cold. After sending the children away, Shaina reclassified the documents in a few minutes. There were special marks on those documents, and it was very easy to classify them according to the marks, but Yamato didn't recognize them. What is this? Arceus saw some unfamiliar marks from the pile of documents. This is some uncertain news. We want to report it to you after verification. Arceus glanced at the paper, and the words "a lot of golden slate" appeared in his field of vision. No need to verify. Now you explain to me what's on it. You also know that you slept for a long time in the tribe. Later, due to various accidents, a piece of stone was placed on another island by us. However, the person who knew the news died before he could tell us the news. Jin vaguely remembered that he mentioned that there was a lot of gold there. Is this the reason why you often brought back gold during that period of time? Yes, but this description is too broad, so we didn't tell you. It doesn't matter. Notify those people to change the course, and the target is the first half of the Grand Route, a place called Gare Island. He couldn't remember anything else, but if there was a lot of gold there, he still remembered it. But it seems that Yamato's luck seems to have returned. If she hadn't messed up those files, she wouldn't have noticed the information. Jin and Shaina might be able to find the information slowly, but it would take a long time. As for whether it was that island, he was not sure. There are all kinds of islands in this world, and the island with a lot of gold may not be that place, but if there is a clue, he will go and take a look. Yes, sir. She didn't know why Arceus had to change the route temporarily, but it didn't matter. She was just following orders. When Shaina went to convey the new order, Arceus also found Kaido. We will be out for a longer time this time. It may take several months to go back and forth, and I'm taking Yamato with me. Got it. Just treat it as Yamato's last trip. When she comes back, it will be time to start special training. By the way, you should take the remaining 2 little ones to see the world. I'm not telling you this, I'm here to tell you that the situation in Wano country is developing very well now. Don't get drunk and cause trouble. There is no difference between 1 child or 3 children. He is just worried that Kaido may get drunk again at some point. Drunk Kaido and sober Kaido are completely 2 different concepts. Chapter 192 Special Seat at the Bow. Some things may not work if you say them out loud, but you can't completely keep them to yourself, like Kaido. As a person who loves alcohol, no one can control Arceus after he leaves, but as long as he doesn't drink too much and go to the flower capital to play with fire, it's not a big deal. The temporary change of destination kept some pirates busy for most of the night, replenishing more supplies, adjusting routes, and planning new sea charts. At first, they didn't even know where Gaia was. But they were not those people in Wano country who were closed to the outside world. They quickly found a new route, based on the sea chart. Although they didn't have the eternal pointer of Gaia Island, they had stored the eternal pointers of some famous islands in the first half of the Grand Line. Because of the search for stone tablets, random sailing is a very common thing in the Beast's pirates. The eternal pointers of iconic locations are essential supplies. First, get there, and then readjust the course. This time, he only took Zerora, Setsuna, and Mandafesh with him. Because Setsuna lacked actual combat skills, she had to go out for more walks, and as for Mandafesh, it was for convenience. Mandafesh has become more and more skilled in the profession of scout, and he has almost explored the ruins under the inner sea of Wano, so it's just right for him to find something to do. The pirates who are preparing the supplies for the voyage are not the same group of people who will set sail tomorrow. Those people are already resting, but some people are still awake. For example, Yamato. She was tossing and turning in her room and couldn't fall asleep. She was very excited now. This was the first time she could remember sailing. Although she was taken out once, when she was younger, she had no memory of that voyage. Lucky. She was unable to sleep and just wanted to see if Mariah was asleep, but as soon as she lifted the quilt, she was greeted by the gazes of 4 Jigglypuffs. I can't sleep, so I'll go see what Mariah and the others are doing, and I'll be back soon. This request was naturally not agreed to, and the next moment, a gentle song sounded in her ears. In order to get an overactive little guy to sleep on time, the 4 Jigglypuffs have already mastered the hypnotic skill of singing. In the hypnotic singing, she failed to achieve her goal after all. The next day, a pirate ship that looked more like an outing team than a pirate group set off from Onigashima. In addition to Yamato, Mariah and Jack, 4 Jigglypuffs, a Milky-can and Rico followed. According to their age, they have been weaned, but Milky-can's milk is suitable for ages from 0 to old age, and supplementing nutrients is also necessary for growth. Rico chose to go with Mariah, just because she was worried about Mariah going out alone for so long. After White's death, Mariah has become her spiritual sustenance. This is also what Kaido meant. They can't grow up if they stay on Onigashima. Even in the original timeline, except Yamato, they didn't stay on Onigashima all the time. Otherwise the Navy would not have offered a reward for them. With the right person leading the team, their sailing time was greatly advanced. Today, the famous strong men in the world have all shown superhuman talents when they were young. It wouldn't be bad to let them see the scenery of the sea in advance. In the harbor, the Origin sailed out of the waterfall. The helmsmen of the Beast's pirates have become accustomed to the changeable and complex currents nearby. Even if the currents are extremely turbulent, it will not affect their navigation. Wow, such big carp. Jack, what are they talking about? I don't know. I'm a fisherman, not a mermaid. The mermaids regard fish as partners, so they can understand the words of ordinary fish, and they will not eat the meat of fish or sea beasts. They only eat shellfish such as clams. But the fishmen are different. Fish and sea beasts are in their diet. Most fishermen can't understand the words of fish. Only a few kind-hearted fishermen have the ability to communicate with fish. Although those huge carp kings that are comparable to small boats have been surrounding the Origin, and from time to time they will jump up with water splashing, as if they are saying something. Jack can't understand what the carp king wants to express. That is life created by the holy beasts. When the Origin sets out, they will definitely send the ship out of the waters of Wano country. You will get used to this kind of thing after you come here a few more times. Mandafesh stood aside and explained this problem for Yamato and Jack. In terms of combat power, he is not the strongest in the Beast's pirates, but in terms of human relations, he is probably the most knowledgeable. He knows the relationship between several big cadres very well. Of course, the biggest conflict between the cadres is that Quinn may be beaten, which is no longer a big deal in the current Beast's pirates. Some people in the pirate group don't like children. In Mandafesh's view, those people are fools. The future belongs to young people. These young people valued by Kaido and Arceus will definitely go further. If you don't deal with them well, when they are young, they will have to fight for their lives when they grow up. Yamato, who just set sail, is extremely excited. She is very interested in everything in the outside world, even the newsbird passing by nearby, but the height of the ship's side hinders her opportunity to observe the outside world. And she also found a good position. When the ship left the dangerous waters of Wano country, she climbed directly to the bow, while Jigglypuff was still not able to react. The place with the best view on the ship must be the observation tower on the flagpole, but she definitely couldn't get there, so she chose the bow with the widest view. The bow of a ship usually has a symbolic item to indicate the ownership of the ship. Now that the origin has undergone some modifications, the bow is located at a flat mutant Cayenne's wrist, similar to a stretched cross. The cross position in the middle leaves enough platform for her. Looking down, there is a turbulent ocean, but she is not afraid. It's decided. This will be my seat from now on. Is it okay, Godfather? The bow was built with collision factors in mind, so it was built very sturdy. Even if several adults sat on it, it would not be crushed, let alone a child. If it were a child from an ordinary family, a dangerous reason would be taken down directly, but in this world, this is nothing at all. Okay, from now on that will be your special seat. Setsuna, go and keep an eye on her, don't let her fall. That being said, it wouldn't be okay to leave her alone there. Even with Kaido's bloodline, it's too young now, so it would be more reassuring to have someone watching her. Chapter 193 Demon Valley Town. In the first half of the Grand Line, Gaia Island is an island shaped like a skull, but it obviously lacks a large piece of its eye. The missing piece is a target of Arceus's trip. If there is a place with a lot of gold, then the Sky Island above Gaia Island is the one that impressed him the most. The ancient city of Shandora, known as the Golden Country, was once here. Shandora means a glorious city, and it can really be described as full of gold. However, nearly 400 years ago, Gaia Island encountered an accident. The sky current just happened to be generated below Gaia Island, and a large part of Gaia Island was washed up to a height of 10,000 meters, including the part of Shandora. It was washed into the sky, and did not fall down, but just landed on the island cloud in the sky, and thus became part of the Sky Island. Sky Islands are distributed all over the world. The small Sky Island where the Millennium Dragon lived before, according to the original timeline. The Sky Island where Kaido played the bungee jumping machine several decades later. The Sky Island composed of island clouds is scattered all over the sky. However, because the sea clouds available for ships to sail are limited, the Sky Islands may not necessarily be connected, so there are not many connections between the Sky Islands. Small Sky Islands will even be blown away by the wind, and only large Sky Islands will always exist in a fixed place. There are also some small Sky Islands controlled by humans, such as Visalia, where a group of meteorologists live. There are still many such islands today, because the Golden Lion is still active outside. Even if the fleet has lost more than half and a rudder is inserted into his head, he is still a powerful pirate and enjoys his hegemony in the new world. Although part of Gaia Island was sent to an altitude of 10,000 meters by the sea current, the rest of it still exists in King Hay and gradually became an island for pirates. Because sailing on the Grand Line requires the use of a record pointer, the record pointer will only point to the next island after storing information on an island. But Shandora, who rushed into the sky, caused the record pointer in the hands of the pirates who arrived here to point to the sky. Without the eternal pointer, they did not know the way to the Sky Island, so they were trapped here and became caught in a dilemma. In the end, a special town was formed on the island, a town composed of pirates. Mogu Town. This place also became a landmark for Arceus to locate the Sky Island he needed. 2 months later, in the waters near Gare Island, the origin had already appeared here, and the record pointer began to point to the sky. Godfather, are there really islands in the sky? Of course, there may be islands in the sky or the deep sea, and the starry sky is no exception. The world is much bigger than you think. She may not understand the latter words, but Arceus' words made her understand one thing, that is, there are really islands in the sky. She has not seen the deep sea Fishman Island. When crossing the Red Earth continent, Arceus directly used electromagnetic levitation to lift the entire ship up, and then flew over from a high altitude. However, after crossing there, it landed on the sea again. He did not plan to keep the ship floating in the sky. This voyage was also mixed with some educational significance. Lord Arceus, we are almost there. What should we do now? How are the supplies on the ship? There is enough food, but fresh water needs to be replenished. Then we will stop at the island in front to rest, and the next stop is Sky Island. In order to hurry on the way, the people on the ship have not stopped for the past 2 months, and they only stopped to replenish supplies. They should have a good rest before the formal operation. It is 10,000 meters above the ground. It would be bad if they were too tired and fell down because of altitude sickness. As for the children on the ship, Mariah and Jack could see fatigue on their faces. The 2-month voyage had worn away a lot of their excitement for the first time going out to sea, but Yamato still maintained his initial excitement. Although the town of Magic Valley was a town where pirates gathered, it was not an illegal area, but not much different from an ordinary town. The supplies here all depend on passing merchant ships. If it becomes an illegal area, causing other ships to bypass it in the future, then the people here will not be able to survive. So there are still some rules in the town. After the origin docked, the pirates began to replenish the supplies needed on the ship and check whether the hull was damaged. Some people also walked into the town. As Arceus said, this was the time for them to rest. The rest of the pirates is not to sleep in bed. Going to the tavern on land to have a drink is the most basic performance. Almost every island has its own specialty drinks and food, which is also the way for pirates to have fun during the voyage. However, there are always people left on the ship, so the people who stayed on the pirate ship were rotated. Those who did not get off the ship when they docked last time left first this time. Jack, Mariah, let's go together. We have been on the ship for so long. Both of them looked a little tempted, but they did not answer. Instead, they looked at Arceus. They did not have as many privileges as Yamato. Go if you want to, it's just a paradise anyway. Mandafesh, Zerora, keep an eye on the 3 of them, and don't let anything happen. The people have been taken out to sea, so he naturally did not intend to keep the 3 of them as fragile items, but necessary protection is still needed. Otherwise, it would be outrageous to let the children of their own pirate group be captured by human traffickers like the 9 snakes did. Yes, please rest assured. Mandafesh has a characteristic. When he goes out, he never touches alcohol, even if he is relaxing, let alone women. He is the most reassuring one among those carders. In addition to Zerora, he doesn't think that there will be anything on Gare Island that can threaten them. So there is a very strange configuration in the team of pirates going out, a strange combination of 3 children and 4 Jigglypuff eggs. As for Eiko, she has never left Wano country and has been a little uncomfortable with the climate recently, so she just rested on the boat. There are also 2 female pirates accompanying her. Although the number of female pirates is relatively small, there are now many under the banner of the beasts. The tavern in Magic Valley Town is not a prosperous town, so there is only one store. It also shoulders the responsibility of a restaurant. It is the only choice for people on the island to drink or find food. Those pirates and the residents of Magic Valley Town who have put down their identities as pirates are here at this time. They brag about the past or discuss the latest big news here every day. When new people come, they will have more new topics to talk about. Today, a bunch of people with strange styles came in. Chapter 194 Sky Island exists. Children, beastmen, and walking eggs. These were their most intuitive feelings. Are you pirates too? Are you playing house? Judging people by appearance is a common problem for most people. 3 children are already very rare, not to mention creatures like Zerora and Jigglypuff that they have never seen before. However, there were more than a dozen pirates from the Beast's pirates who came here, so they didn't speak too boldly. Seeing that the other party didn't intend to pay attention to them, they left in disappointment. Those missiles and scars didn't look easy to mess with, so there was no need to make trouble for themselves. Boss, do you have any food suitable for children? Bring up 3 servings, and you can do with the rest. As he said that, he threw a pile of barley on the bar, and then Mandafesh signaled a few people to clear an area near the bar. This was left for Yamato and the others. Arceus didn't bring many people this time, and except for Zorora, he was the highest ranking carder on the ship. Although Mandafesh's expression didn't seem to change, he was very nervous now. Arceus asked them to bring the 3 children out. With Zorora by his side, he knew nothing would happen. But even if Yamato lost a hair, he would worry about whether it would make Arceus unhappy. This was an opportunity, but if he wasn't careful, it would affect his career. 4 servings. Zorora, I'm not a child anymore. Wait until you're taller than me. Arceus helped him fix the height issue, so his height once again surpassed Setsuna's, and he was qualified to say this. I understand, sir. Our specialty is cherry pie and cherry juice. Are these okay? Unlike ordinary taverns that use various spirits or wines as their main products, the most sold here are cherry products, which is also caused by the environment here. The large cherry forests on the island let the people here choose to use local materials. In addition, there are cherry wine, cherry sea beast pie and other cherry related dishes. He is open for business, and it doesn't matter how strange the money people give. It doesn't affect us making money anyway. The cherry pie and cherry juice of Magic Valley Town are magical foods that can cause disputes among the 4 emperors in the future. Because it is a signature dish, the cherry pie is already a semi-finished product and was quickly taken out. Yamato and Mariah like it, and Setsuna is also okay, but Jack is different. He has no interest after just 1 bite. Can it be replaced with meat? I don't like this very much. How confident Jack is more than 20 years later. How humble Jack is now. Although Arceus did not discriminate against him, and he had everything he deserved, others would get more. For example, the care of Jigglypuff. He can see a cooked Jigglypuff egg at every meal, and the same is true for Mariah. 1 egg per person is standard, but Jigglypuff can lay several eggs every day, and those extra eggs are naturally divided among Yamato. After all, they were created by Arceus, and personal preferences will also have an impact on these first generation bodies. Even if Yamato's requests are a little willful, they will be met, and he can do some things willfully. Mariah herself also has a little privilege, and he was already accompanying Mandafesh to explore underwater at that time. But such a small request is nothing, not to mention that Mandafesh is here. Apart from anything else, Jack is most familiar with Mandafesh now. After all, Mandafesh has been diving with him some time ago. Anyway, the money has been paid, and the boss can ask the chef to make whatever he wants. Soon, several huge steaks were served, which looked like some small sea beasts. The bar counter has almost been contracted by the beast's pirates. Even Jigglypuff is eating some food. Nothing would happen here until Yamato asked a question. Uncle, have you been to Sky Island? Sky Island? No. Are you going to Sky Island? He didn't believe in the existence of Sky Island, but this was obviously the child of the sponsor. He must have a high egg to be able to open a tavern in this place. Anyway, it's just a matter of a few words. Just treat it as coaxing a child. Yeah, we are leaving tomorrow. I wonder what Sky Island looks like. Maybe it'll be beautiful. If you get there, remember to tell me when you have time. But some pirates were different. Yamato's voice was loud, so it naturally reached their ears. Ha 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 ha, where did this kid come from? Sky Island is just a lie for kids. It doesn't exist at all. That's right. You can say anything to make money. Didn't you not believe it before? Most people here were drunk, and the chain reaction of laughter almost spread throughout the tavern, which made Yamato blush. Nonsense. Sky Island is right here. Yamato won in terms of volume. She almost suppressed the laughter of the entire tavern by herself, but then more violent laughter rang out, and some people even knocked over the bottles on the table. Little boy, don't be naive. Sky Island is just a trick to fool children. Sky Island doesn't exist at all. Do you know that? Impossible. Sky Island is right here. My godfather wouldn't lie to me. It seems that you still don't understand reality, little boy. The pirate who just spoke stood up and approached here. If Sky Island really existed, then they would be real fools for wasting so much time here. So everyone who stayed here had a consensus. That is, Sky Island does not exist. Even if it was just a child's remarks, they didn't want to accept it. But Mandafesh's wrist grabbed him. Friend, I advise you to take care of yourself. We don't want to do anything too extreme with the children today. Yamato and the others will inevitably experience the process of seeing blood. This is an inevitable thing for them who were born in the Beast's pirates, not to mention that Kaido and Arceus both intend to train them to be strong. But he has no right to decide when to see blood. Before Arceus or Kaido has this plan, he must protect their innocence as children. Who is your friend? 3 years ago, I was also a pirate with a bounty of 30 million. Haven't you heard of the name of Harold the Jackal? You idiots who believe in Sky Island. He tried to shake off Mandafesh, but the other's hand grabbed his wrist like an iron clamp. Sorry, I'm not interested in the title of trash. Master Zerora, I think the next scene may not be very good. Otherwise you can take Miss Yamato and the others away first. The man smelled of alcohol and was obviously drunk. His companions behind him also made some movements. It seemed that the next matter would be difficult to resolve. If they couldn't even solve these trash in the paradise, then they really had no face to stay in the Beast's pirates. Chapter 195. Are all the pirates in paradise so naive? Zerora also thought what he said made sense, so he held Yamato in one hand and Mariah in the other, and was about to leave, then said, Setsuna, you stay and participate for a while. Jack, don't move. It's time to go back. It's not that he discriminates. Mariah hasn't grown yet. He can still hold her up, but Jack is different. He is too strong, and when holding Yamato and Mariah, his body structure does not allow him to hold a third person, so he can only use the magnetic field to capture him and take him out. Uncle Zerora, let me go. I want to talk to that guy. There's no need, Yamato. Lord Arceus said, don't talk to fools. They will pull you to the same level and defeat you with their rich experience. Mandafesh will take care of those things. Let's prepare to go to Sky Island first, okay? Lucky Jigglypuff, who was following beside him, was also chatting with Yamato, and finally made her forget about it for the time being. As Aurora took them away, the atmosphere in the tavern became more serious. Trash? Who are you talking about? I'm a pirate with a bounty of 30 million. Okay, this joke won't make any sense if it's told a second time, but before we start, I want to ask, does anyone want to go out? Those who stay here will be considered enemies. He threw Harold out, and the tables and chairs in the tavern were knocked over. Seeing that a fight was about to break out, irrelevant people left one after another, but most of the pirates stayed. A bounty of 30 million was considered a leader in the current Magic Valley town. The pirates who stayed could be said to be his younger brothers. After Harold was thrown out, this battle was basically unavoidable. Sorry, boss, you can use his 30 million head to exchange for money to repair the tavern. Although the pirates stayed here, it didn't mean that there was nowhere to go. The merchant ships passing by went to other islands, and their supplies were also traded with those people. As for why they didn't rob those merchant ships and leave here, those who can do business in the Grand Line are not ordinary people, and these pirates in the paradise really don't have that kind of tricks. Little guys, you've seen it too. This guy wants to do something very dangerous to Miss Yamato. Yamato hasn't been called the Ghost Princess yet, and most people call her Miss Yamato. Bang. Mandafesh didn't finish his words, and a gunshot had already sounded the signal for a declaration of war. Shoot. Let this arrogant guy know how powerful we are. With his shout, a series of gunshots rang out, and bullets were fired at Mandafesh from all directions, and they became more and more intense. The strong and irritating smell of gunpowder diffused around, and the white smoke generated by the burning gunpowder of the old-fashioned flintlock even blocked the vision of many people. You bastard, I don't believe that you won't die after so many guns. The same series of laughter rang out, but this time it was the people of the Beast Pirates who laughed. Are all the pirates in paradise so naive? I don't know. I was born in the new world. Rodella, I remember you came from paradise, right? You were like this before. Don't talk nonsense. I'm not as stupid as this guy. The last pirate who was asked rejected it repeatedly, not wanting to have anything to do with the man in front of him. Asshole. Your boss is dead. You can still laugh. However, this was still regarded as a joke by them. They all knew that these muskets could not hurt Manda Fish at all. After all, his scales had been forged to be very strong. The next moment, Manda Fish's voice came back. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but how can these things kill me? I have even thought about where to live after retirement. Manda Fish dropped a handful of bullets, and a lot of bullets had already been scattered on the ground. A piece of red scales grew on the skin exposed outside his clothes. It was this fish scale that blocked the bullet. Then Manda Fish in the human beast form gave the order to attack. Okay, guys, let these cowards in paradise know what pirates in the new world are. He gave these people a chance, but they didn't take it. From the moment he said that, their grudge had already been formed. As for the title of coward, they looked down on even the rookies who had just entered the new world, let alone these pirates nesting in paradise. Don't be so proud. I'm just a power user. I'm Harold the Jackal. Harold roared, and his body also began to change. His originally sturdy legs gradually turned into the hind legs of canines. Compared to the fourth seas, Paradise was at least familiar with the existence of devil fruits, and was not too surprised to see Manda Fish's changes, and also turned into a wolf form. However, Manda Fish couldn't recognize what kind of wolf it was. Animal type. It's a pity that you wasted this fruit. If the fruit was brought back, the beast pirates would definitely have an extra mythical beast power user. In Manda Fish's view, letting him eat this fruit was a waste of natural resources. Besides, I've already said that 30 million is a joke. There's no point in doing it for the third time. Manda Fish kicked the floor of the tavern, and the huge force bounced off the nails inlaid in the floor. One end of the wooden board was lifted up high, and Manda Fish's legs were wrapped in scales and domineering, and one leg whip directly hit Harold's neck. The huge impact force was transmitted to him, and a big hole was directly broken in the wall of the tavern. After crashing through several walls in a row, Harold was buried in the ruins. Then Manda Fish directly removed his ability and began to tidy up his clothes. The pirates in paradise were too weak for him. After all, he was also a carder of the beast pirates, and the scouts were also combat members. He used his ability and domineering at the same time, and he didn't hold back at all. One blow was enough for such an enemy. The battle ended quickly. Those who stayed in the Magic Valley town almost forgot how to fight, and even just used up the bullets in their guns. Their enemies are all elite members of the Beast's pirates, who have some domineering skills. In close combat, no matter swords or armor, they cannot withstand weapons blessed by domineering skills. These people are so weak. Looking at the pirates who were defeated by a casual attack, Setsuna showed a puzzled expression. Born in Zal, she couldn't understand why some people were so weak. The people of the organ trafficking assassination group were much stronger than them. They are just trash from the paradise. This is normal. Check each other, put your clothes in order and go back. Throw away the bloody ones. If Miss Yamato feels something is wrong, don't blame me for being rude later. By the way, boss, I'll give you this guy's head, but I remind you that Sky Island really exists. The bounty for the pirate's head was enough for him to build a new tavern, but the beasts didn't have time to find someone to exchange it, and he didn't refute Yamato just now. No matter what his purpose was, Manda Fish didn't mind letting him get a bargain. Chapter 196. Jack is mistaken for a fish in the sea clouds. Manda Fish looked at his men's appearance and made sure no one was injured before leading the team away from here, leaving only the confused tavern owner. Harold has been very powerful here for 3 years. Since he arrived here 3 years ago and defeated the previous boss, he has become the uncrowned king of Magic Valley Town. He didn't expect that he would be solved so easily today. These strangely combined people are so powerful, which is beyond Dot's imagination. The most important thing is that he doesn't seem to be a captain, but just an ordinary carder. It wasn't until a pirate threw away his blood-stained coat that he understood why. The flag of the Beast Pirates on the vest was very eye-catching. Why did the Beast Pirates, a big pirate in the New World, appear here? However, this question did not bother him for too long. The next moment he rushed towards the ruins. Those who can open a tavern here are not good people, but he is not as extreme as Herald and his people. He had to get himself involved in a matter of 2 sentences. In the past, no one dared to resist their tyranny, but now they have kicked the steel plate all of a sudden. A lot of things were broken in the tavern, and he was counting on using Herald's bounty to repair the tavern. On the origin, Yamato was not depressed, because she had been attracted by the huge water column in the distance. It was the surging ocean current near Gaia Island, and it was this ocean current that sent Shindora to the Sky Island. It's so big. Godfather, are we going to ride this ocean current? No, that kind of ocean current only comes once in a long time. If we miss it this time, we will have to wait for several days. We have a safer way to get up. Is it the method we used to float across the Red Earth continent before? Yes, but this time we will fly higher. Nothing happened overnight. Mandafesh's battle in the tavern made those who had evil thoughts here calm down. The pirates in paradise lacked knowledge of strength. In their opinion, the strong were nothing more than people like Harold. If it was just the banner of the 100 beasts, there would still be a few fearless people who tried to provoke, but Mandafesh completely extinguished their thoughts. The next morning, Dot was picking cherries in the cherry orchard as usual, which was the main material for their cherry pie. Then he saw the Origin rising slowly in the direction of the port. A flying ship. Is there really an island in the sky? This thought appeared in his mind and gradually changed his view of the world. On the Origin, Yamato was also pulled down from the bow. The position was not suitable for her during the flight, but this did not bother her. She used the firing port of the ship's cannon in the cabin as her observation port. Under the control of Arceus, the Origin gradually approached the clouds. As the main mast touched the clouds, a strange fish actually landed on Jack's head. Looking at the salmon-like fish with an elephant's nose, Jack felt that the fish was delicious. This is an airfish growing in the White Sea. It seems that we are almost there. The knowledgeable pirates recognized what it was, which meant that the clouds above their heads were no longer ordinary white clouds, but sea clouds that could be used for ships to sail. Then a current was released by Zorora, and a big hole was punched in the White Sea in the sky. The Origin also arrived above the White Sea along the gap. You can really sail on the clouds. Yes, Mariah, look, the sun is so close to us, it feels like it's right in front of us. Godfather, let's sail to the sun. The sunset on the sea of clouds has a different kind of beauty, which is a scenery that cannot be seen on Ghost Island. That won't work, Yamato. The sun is still higher, and that's not our destination. This is the White Sea at an altitude of 7,000 meters, and the location of Sky Island is even higher. It is still 3,000 meters away from Sky Island. The White Sea at an altitude of 10,000 meters is their destination. In theory, entering Sky Island requires paying 1 billion Ike, but Sky Island's environmental inflation is serious, and 1 billion Ike is only 100,000 baileys. These have nothing to do with the Origin. If you follow the normal entry method, whether you slowly drive up from the sea of clouds at the top of the west sky, or rush up on the sky high current, you will eventually have to enter from the entry point. For people who can fly, it is enough to go in a straight line. After the people on the boat had adjusted a little, the Origin began to continue to float up, and drifted towards the higher White Sea. On the White Sea, a man and a woman were sprinting on the White Sea on 2 U-shaped irons. The U-shaped irons on their feet were tied with wind shells on both sides. They were the specialty shells of Sky Island and had a variety of functions. Wind shells can store wind, and at this time they were using them as surfers, and they were catching fish living in the sea clouds. Their clothes were similar to those of Indians, with feather ornaments behind their heads, and even a pair of handmade small wings on their backs. They were Shandia people, the natives of Gaia Island, because the surging sea currents nearly 400 years ago, and the part of Gaia Island were sent here together. On Sky Island, land is a very rare resource, so islands with large pieces of land have caused competition among the natives of Sky Island. The Shandia people were defeated, and left their hometown, and established their own cloud-hidden village in the clouds of the White Sea. However, for hundreds of years, they have been trying to regain their homeland, which is now the island of gods Apayado. The two pulled a fishing net in the sea clouds to catch food for the tribe. At present, the harvest did not seem to be very good. There were only a few small fish in the fish basket behind them. However, their fishing nets made a big noise at this time, and they were struggling violently. Coda, it seems that a big fish has been caught. I know, it seems that today's dinner has been settled. Come on, Shatala. The Shandians work regardless of gender, only whether they are adults or not. With a sparse population, every adult is an indispensable labor force. The two increased the output of the cloud shells under their feet and finally pulled up the prey below. However, when they completely closed the net, they found that what they caught was not the prey they expected, but a person. How could it be a person? To be precise, it was not a person, but a fishman. Jack, who was swimming in the sea clouds, was accidentally caught in the net. At Jack's age, no one would let him act alone. Jack's appearance here meant that the origin was nearby. Before they had time to release Jack from the fishing net, the huge origin had already revealed its figure. Gentlemen, can you please release our people? It's best not to refuse, otherwise it will be very difficult for us. Mandafesh's voice came from the side of the ship in the distance, and a row of muskets were raised. I went out for something during the day, so the update will be postponed today. There will be no less than 4 updates, but I'm not sure what time it will be. I'll post them all together after they are ready. Don't worry. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197, The Embarrassment of Taking the Wrong Road. The origin had just arrived at the White Sea. After arriving here, Arceus also sensed a familiar breath, so he circled the direction for the origin to move forward. As for why Jack was in the cloud, it was completely because he wanted to try whether he could swim in the sea cloud. After arriving at the White Sea, except for Rico who had some altitude sickness, the other pirates were basically not affected. Their physical fitness could still adapt to this situation. There are also large fish living in the sea cloud, but those fish have now been scared away by the breath emitted by Arceus. The nearby sea cloud has completely become a swimming pool. After all, Yamato also wants to swim, so he has to open up a larger area. After the surroundings were safe, Mandafesh did not go down to accompany them. After all, Jack was a fishman. If he drowned in the sea, it would be a joke, so he just told them not to swim too far downstream, and not to accidentally fall into the sea cloud. Because he was a fishman, Jack swam farther, so he plunged into someone else's fishing net. That kind of fishing net was woven with rope clouds, and had extremely strong toughness. The young Jack was caught in the net, but in the end it was just a misunderstanding. Not all Shandians were so irritable. They did not behave aggressively. Sky Island had never had such a large ship. These could only be visitors from King Hay. Some time ago, they saw a pirate ship rushing up from below, but that ship was much smaller than the origin. After untying the fishing net, they stepped back a few steps, indicating that they had no hostility, and then opened the wind shell and left here. They did not seem to want to have too much communication with outsiders. Godfather, are those the people who live here? Yes, they are the people who were brought up with the rushing sea current, but their ancestors are different. Mandafesh turned left 15 degrees and sailed at full speed. Zorora, fish Jack out. It's almost time to have enough fun. The origin scooped up Jack as it passed by, but the Tushandians found something wrong. The direction they were heading was the location of the tribal gathering place. Let's go. Go back to the tribe. There are not only sea clouds on the Sky Island, but also island clouds. Ships cannot sail on the island clouds, but their homemade jet devices can allow them to glide on the island clouds. Island clouds have the same properties as land, and can allow plants to grow, but there are no seeds in the island clouds, so the seeds of plants growing here come from the King Hay ships and the parts washed up on Gare Island. Chief. There are ships from King Hay coming, and they are heading towards us. Deep in the island clouds, pointed tents are distributed here in an orderly manner, with some totem poles in the middle, and many of the totem poles have been lit on fire as a lighting tool. Although this place used to be part of Gare Island, it has been living an isolated life for nearly 400 years, and the Shandians are thinking about how to take back their homes every day. This is a war that has lasted for hundreds of years. Both the Sky Islanders and the Shandians have paid a huge price for this. In the past few years, the manager of the Sky Island has become Ganful. His policy of peaceful coexistence eased their conflict, but it still did not fundamentally solve the problem. Hundreds of years of blood feuds are not so easy to resolve. A slightly old man with a hood made of animal skin came out when he heard the voice. Coda, Shatala, don't panic. What happened? Chief, it's a ship from King Hay, a big ship. We were fishing before, and then. They briefly explained what happened and waited for the chief's arrangements. All adult warriors, get ready. Coda, you to take people to the beach to see where those people are going. The Shandians underestimated the speed of the Origin, and it had docked next to the island cloud not long ago. After leaving some people to guard the ship, the others got off. The Sky Island jungle at night was full of mystery, but no one in the Beast Pirates felt scared. Yamato even ran in the front. Although this was unreasonable, Arceus didn't think that any creature could hurt the other party under his nose. Godfather is what we are looking for here. It's not far ahead. Is that a treasure? It's useless to other people, but it's a treasure that belongs to me. I just lost it many years ago. So father is often not at home because he helps Godfather find things? I think so. He wanted to say yes, but according to Kaido's character, he might do something on the way out. According to the time, Yamato was created by him at that time, so he was not sure. In fact, at this distance, he can directly guide the stone tablet out. As long as it is not blocked by obstacles like the evil stone tablet in the stomach of the Sea King before, he can directly guide the stone tablet back. But he wanted to see the place where the Lunarians hid his stone tablet, so he walked forward according to his perception. Then as long as we find the things, won't it be much easier for my foster father, and sister Shaina? Almost, but it will take a long time. Understood. I will help my foster father find all the things. You are still too young, Yamato, but you have helped a lot. Really? How come I don't know? Yamato didn't know how much her luck helped, but she was tripped by the tree roots under her feet without paying attention, and the soft island cloud didn't hurt her. Jigglypuff behind her looked more distressed, but Yamato was already used to bumps and bruises. She rolled over and climbed up by herself and saw a brand new path in front of her. The secluded village of Shandia had appeared in front of them. Coda did take people to search the situation before, but the problem was that the scope of Sky Island was circular, unlike Wano Country, where there were only a few entrances, so they staggered perfectly. Looking at the strangers who appeared on the outskirts of the village, the prepared warriors raised their weapons one after another. Even the old and weak were no exception, and the only choice for such a tribe was to unite all the people into a soldier. The members of the beasts were never afraid of fighting. Seeing this, they all walked to the front and took up their weapons to confront each other. As long as there was an order, they would start their fight without hesitation. Outsiders, what are you doing here? The chief didn't know the strength of the other party, but he was ready to fight. Don't be nervous, I'm just here to get my things back. It's here. Chapter 198 400 Years of Promise. There's nothing for you here, outsider. Seeing Arceus of an unknown race speak, the chief was shocked, but he still calmed down and communicated with him. He was the most peace-loving chief among all the previous chiefs, and he didn't want to see his people bleed and sacrifice because of meaningless battles. In order to retake Arpeado, they have paid too many sacrifices. It's not up to you to decide whether it exists or not. I can already feel its presence. A gust of wind blew over here, and the outer skin of the tent whistled under the wind. The Shandians lived in a simple leather tent. They didn't gain much advantage in the battle with the Sky Islanders, so they mainly fought in a guerrilla way. The place where the tribe lived would also be moved regularly, so setting up tents was more suitable for their lifestyle. A huge vine grew where they lived, and a huge piece of gold also floated down from above. Is it melted into the gold? This is a good way to hide. He could feel that his stone slab was in the gold. It seemed that the Lunarians did this because they were afraid of being discovered. However, it seems that the stone tablet was lost hundreds of years ago, and Shaina and Jin only kept some records by word of mouth. When the gold was taken away by Arceus, the expression of the chief of Shandia changed. Outsider, Put the things down. It doesn't belong to you. The chief of Shandia picked up his weapon. The gold was related to an agreement. They had broken their promise once and could not break their promise a second time. However, this sentence was like a reverse scale for Arceus. Any creature that coveted his stone tablet would be an unforgivable sin, so an extremely ferocious aura emanated from his body. That was his pressure, dominated by the evil-faced stone tablet. A breath of fear swept across the entire village of Shandia. Regardless of men, women, old or young, they were all pressed to the ground by this pressure. Lord Arceus is angry. Lord Arceus, let's get rid of these guys. Don't be angry about this. This pressure was not aimed at them, but it still made them feel palpitations. Jack and Mariah even felt that breathing became difficult, and even Yamato felt that Arceus had become a little strange at this time. No, I will give you one last chance. Tell me what happened, otherwise destruction will be your only fate. Walking in front of the chief, Arceus gave his ultimatum. If it was the original Arceus, the phrase "it doesn't belong to you" would be the biggest taboo, but the current Arceus is willing to give him a chance to explain. That is the agreement of our ancestors. We will protect it for others. Unless you kill all of us, don't even think about taking it away. At the end, he actually stood up despite the fear. Although Arceus withdrew the pressure at the power level, it was a great thing for him to stand up. You have a good reason, but what you are keeping originally belongs to me, and the people who hid it here are my people. Now that I have awakened, I have come to take back my things. Do you understand what I mean? How do you prove it? I advise you that keeping your promise is a very good quality, but it is foolish to overestimate your own abilities. Arceus did not say anything, but proved everything with facts and actions. Under the influence of his power, the gold block began to melt, and soon the true appearance of the stone tablet inside was revealed. Under the influence of his power, the stone tablet bloomed with brilliance and finally merged into his body. Do you believe it now? Only I can use its power. Your promise has been fulfilled, and it has been fulfilled well. Things related to the stone tablet can easily make him act impulsively, so he will be more irritable than usual, but after calming down, he is not an unreasonable person. The ancestors of Jin and Shaina must have reached an agreement with these Shandians, and they have been fulfilling their promises for hundreds of years. Put down your guns, these people are not enemies. Ship doctor, go and check their bodies. He felt the properties of the stone tablet again, and then looked at Yamato with more strange emotions. Soon, the misunderstanding was explained. Arceus and his people were not looters, but people who came to take back their own things. His behavior just now was enough to prove that it belonged to him. Although he looked strange, the Shandians had more respect for him. In their beliefs, different animals represent gods. They acted impulsively before, but the folk customs of this primitive tribe were still simple. After figuring out the reason, they did not dwell on the previous things, but began to celebrate, because they finally fulfilled one of the promises of their ancestors. That was more than 400 years ago. The legendary figure of Shandia, the great warrior Kalgara, was still a young man at that time. Their ancestors had an intersection with the Lunarians at that time. The Lunarians helped them treat their illnesses, and they also took over the task of keeping the stone tablet. They were not greedy invaders, but trustworthy custodians, so Arceus's previous behavior was a bit too much. So he asked his men to move all the supplies on the ship back, and held a new party here. As for Kaido and his men who had taken the wrong road, they just happened to catch up with this party. They were dragged into the bonfire party by their tribesmen, and didn't even understand what was going on. Godfather, you were so scary just now. Did you get scared? No, but that kind of Godfather. Don't think too much. I get angry sometimes too. Have fun, and be good in the future, if you don't want me to get angry. She agreed now, but it was not certain whether she could remember it in the future. The young Shandia people danced their own dance around the bonfire, and the people of the beast pirates were also dragged in, while the tribe leader spoke in front of the young people. We have fulfilled one of our ancestors' promises. Hundreds of years have passed, and the things we kept have been returned to their original owners. This is a good momentum, and the agreement between the great warriors Kalgara and Rolando will surely be fulfilled. We will definitely be able to take back our Kaido that belongs to us. The sound of the golden bell will resound through the sky. Oh. However, a strange voice was mixed in with the responses. "Grandpa, what is the golden bell?" Seeing the questions raised by Yamato and other children, the chief was not unhappy. Instead, he told the story of the Shandian people again, a story that has been passed down from mouth to mouth for hundreds of years. Chapter 199, Yamato's Thought Lesson, Plan for Sky Island. Nearly 400 years ago, when Gaia Island was still intact, Shindora had not come to Sky Island. At that time, when Bryn Rolando, a navigator from the North Sea, accidentally came to Gaia Island to avoid the heavy rain and saved the Shandia tribe who were attacked by tree fever, making a great contribution to Gaia Island. He also forged a deep friendship with the great warrior at that time, Kalgara. However, because of the felling of trees that the Shandia people believed to be the souls of their ancestors, they had a conflict. When Kalgara knew that those trees were the truth of their illness, it was too late. Rolando's ship had already set sail. Kalgara made a vow to ring the golden bell every day to guide Rolando with the sound of the bell. The Shandia people also cast a special memorial statue for Rolando. Because of the ocean current, we came to Sky Island, and those people from Sky Island also robbed our land. For hundreds of years, we have not been able to take back our land, and we have not been able to ring the golden bell again. The chief was still telling the history of the Shandia people, but Yamato's thoughts were no longer here. Rolando, I seem to have heard this name somewhere. Where is it? It's a fairy tale in the North Sea, the Beglia Rolando. Mom read us a storybook before. Mariah reminded Yamato that the well-known fairy tale of the beast's pirates in the North Sea can certainly be found. They, the children, have also heard similar stories. But when these words reached the ears of the chief, it was different. Beglia? How can Rolando be a Beglia? When he listened to Mariah and Yamato's story of King Hay in a few words, a stream of tears burst out. Really? Is it really so? Because of our incompetence, our benefactor has suffered such a great injustice. Godfather, why don't we help them? Why do you want to do this? Because I think they are so pitiful. They can't even protect their own home. Yamato, do you know? Hundreds of years have passed, and those Sky Island people have also regarded that place as their home. What we are doing is equivalent to robbing the homes of the current Sky Island people. Do you understand? Yamato's brain capacity seemed to have reached its upper limit because of this. She originally thought that the Shandian people were pitiful, but it became strange again after hearing this. Even to Wano country, we are outsiders. Even if we can make that country live better, we still cannot cover up this nature. The people may not care because they can get benefits. But to those in power, we are invaders, patriots, and enemies. Godfather, I don't understand. You will understand in the future. Now you have to understand that this is a cruel world. Without power, everything is empty talk. Only the strong can help the weak according to their own preferences. You said before that you wanted to help us. Now you want to do things that require power. So Yamato, you also have to learn to become stronger, understand? He took this opportunity to educate Yamato. She is too naive now. She may not remember these words now, but this sign will gradually affect her. Before Kaido's training begins, he has to let Yamato have the idea of becoming stronger. I understand, you have to become stronger. But in the end, Arceus still decided to help the Shandians take back Upper Yard. But the reason was not as simple as Yamato's. It was not because he thought they were good people. First of all, the Shandians did keep his things for hundreds of years and kept their promises. His pressure just now also had a significant impact, which was a little compensation. On the other hand, he was attracted by the shellfish on the Sky Island. The shellfish here have various effects and are widely used in life and weapons. Through shellfish, the Shandians of tribal civilization actually made their own handmade rocket launchers. These shellfish have high strategic value. On the one hand, they help the Shandians regain their territory. On the other hand, he plans to plant the flag of the beasts here. The flag is used to deter other foreign pirates. In essence, they will not interfere with the management here. Everything will be left to the Shandians to manage. They only need to provide some shellfish every once in a while. Like other affiliated islands recruited by other big pirates, many sovereign countries in the New World are like this. While they are autonomous, they also receive protection from other forces. There are two forces here, and he does not intend to send people to manage it directly, so choosing one of the two is the best result. For these reasons, he chose the Shandians, but when Manfesh and the Patriarch proposed this matter, they were rejected by the chief. Why? Grandpa, we are helping you. Little girl, this is our Shandian people's business. You are friends, and we can't let friends bleed, because of our business. Keeping that thing is the promise of our ancestors. Your fine wine, food, and medicine are enough for us to use, so don't worry about what happened yesterday. After all, it was just a misunderstanding. He has decided to lead his people to attack Upper Yard and take back his homeland after the beast's pirates leave, but he doesn't want outsiders to get involved. Don't worry about bleeding. If the fighting power of the Sky Island people is at this level, we will have no problem. At this time, a Shandian warrior walked up to the chief's ear and said a few words, which made his expression change again. Because he said that at the end of the banquet yesterday, the Shandians and the beasts had a friendly competition, and Manfesh defeated all the warriors here with his bare hands. What will you get from this? Do you want the gold of Shandora? Although Shandia has not developed much, he does not think that anyone would fight for others for no reason. Gold is the most direct thing he can think of. If he can take back Arpeado, gold is not a big deal. This is what Lord Arceus meant. It is a reward for you to keep your promise for hundreds of years. We want the shellfish, a specialty of Sky Island, more than gold. So after taking back Arpeado, you have to collect shellfish for us every year. We can also bring you daily necessities. At the same time, you have to hang our flag at the entrance of Sky Island. Manfesh put forward his own conditions, which were very easy for the Shandians. What is the meaning of hanging the flag? It means that this place is under our protection. If there are still people from King He who come to make trouble, just contact us, and we will drive those enemies away for you. But don't worry, we won't interfere in your own internal affairs. So you want to occupy the entire Sky Island? Manfesh was talking about hanging a flag at the entrance of Sky Island, and the chief also noticed this problem. You can say that Arpeo will be returned to you. Sky Island will be occupied by us, and you will manage Sky Island for us. Chief, don't hesitate. This is the best chance to take back your homeland. Have you forgotten that your benefactor has suffered injustice for hundreds of years in King He? The chief was still thinking, but the other war factions who heard the news could not help it, and expressed their willingness to take back their hometown. The Sky Islanders are the sworn enemies of most Shandia people, so they naturally don't worry about the fate of the Sky Islanders. Under the instigation of the tribesmen, the tribe leader finally accepted the conditions of the beast's pirates, mobilized all the adult warriors in the tribe, and prepared to take back their homeland. Chapter 200. Anyone can call himself God. Take back our homeland. Take back our homeland. The efficiency of tribal civilization and war mobilization is unquestionable. Taking back Arpeado is the obsession of the Shandians. Although the current chief hopes for peace, he is a dove of the Shandians. But this dove is only relative. Taking back Shandora is his bottom line. This is almost an irreconcilable contradiction between the people of Sky Island and the Shandians. Living at an altitude of 10,000 meters, they have an obsession with the land. They made their own weapons with the shellfish of Sky Island, stone spears, simple bows and arrows and blowpipes, and also iron products from King He. The weapons of the Shandians are varied, and there are not a few pirates who have come to Sky Island in recent years. There are also pirate ships that came from the top of the west by normal means. They have fought and traded with those pirates, which is also the source of those weapons. The Shandians seem to be planning to fight to the death, and all the gunpowder stored in the tribe was brought out. Gunpowder is a scarce resource on Sky Island. The raw materials for making gunpowder cannot be found here, so the only source is King He. When the supply is unstable, the less you use, the less you have. Yamato, why are you shouting with them? I can't help it. Godfather, so Rolando is really not a liar? Well, he is not a liar. He was really their friend at the beginning, but his behavior was stupid. The Shandians were mobilizing before the war, and did not notice them here. According to the customs of the Shandians, it is not a good choice to say bad things about Rolando to his face. Why? What did he do after returning home in the fairy tale? He brought the people of the kingdom to search for the golden land, but found nothing, so he was called a great liar. The king sent people because he coveted the gold here. If it weren't for the surging sea current that sent them to the Sky Island, what do you think would happen if the kingdom army that wanted gold encountered these poorly equipped Shandians? The result would only be a massacre. He betrayed the country by helping his friends and stabbed his friends in the back by helping the kingdom army. What do you think he gained by doing this? A man is innocent, but guilty of possessing a treasure. The Shandians have too much gold, and their ability is not enough to protect their own safety. When they are discovered, their fate will never be good. Rolando should not have told this matter to others. He really regarded the Shandians as friends, but he could not deny his naivety. So, Yamato, if you really regard the other party as a friend, then think about the consequences before doing this, and don't impose what you think is good on others. Maybe Rolando thinks that the arrival of the kingdom can help the Shandians develop, but once human desires begin, it is difficult to stop. He was wrong from the beginning. He seized the opportunity to educate Yamato. This age is a time for characterization. As long as he pays attention to education, there will be basically no problems in the future. However, looking at Yamato's confused eyes, he felt that she might not understand much of what he said. In addition to the old and the young, even the Shandians took up their weapons. In fact, it was not just this time. Every time they acted, they fought a desperate battle. After that, they would rest for a period of time because of casualties, and then continue to find ways to regain their homes. They were already familiar with the direction of Arpeado. Stepping on the skateboard made of wind shells, the Shandians once again set out on the journey to Arpeado. The chief also stepped into the expedition team this time, and took a few young tribesmen on the origin. Kaido and Shatila were also included. Although they accidentally took the wrong road just now, Kaido is actually the strongest warrior in the tribe now, and he just married Shatila. However, on the origin, some special things attracted the attention of the Shandians. Chief, it's base, so many base. Pointing to some green plants on the ship, Kaido showed an envious look. Base here refers to soil. The Shandians who were driven out of their homes could not find other land in the Sky Island. The bottom of the sea cloud is not mud and sand, but will fall directly down, so the soil that can be seen everywhere in King Hay is very precious here. Yes, the place where Base's ancestors lived. If you go at full speed in that direction, it will take about half a day to reach Arpeado. He did not dwell on the soil in the potted plants for too long, but continued to point out the direction of the origin. Arceus could find Shandia's cloud-hidden village by relying on the perception of the stone tablet, but he could not find where the Sky Island was. Half a day is the theoretical time, but in fact they need less time, because the people of Sky Island are not fools, and they are not completely ignorant of what happened in the White Sea. The way the origin entered the country was strange, and the route it took was different from that of ordinary people, so they did not notice it. But now the large army of the Shandians is heading towards Arpeado, and the people of Sky Island naturally discovered all this. It is called a large army, but in fact, there are only 100 or 200 people in total. For nearly 400 years, the Shandians have no other tribes to communicate with, and wars have been breaking out all the time, so the number of tribesmen has long begun to decrease. Before they arrived at Arpeado, the army of Sky Island appeared. The windshell skateboard is not exclusive to the Shandians. These things are also learned from the Sky Island people. Although the tribal system is still relatively primitive, it does not mean that they will not learn from others. Compared with the miscellaneous equipment of the Shandians, the clothing and weapons of the Sky Island people are more unified. Except for the few people in the lead, everyone else is wearing a uniform white robe. Those are Sky Island's divine guards. The few people in the lead are their priests. As for the one riding on the horse, he is Sky Island's current god, Ganfao. The gods here are not gods in the true sense. Like the generals of Wano country, they are just Sky Island's names for rulers. Looking in the direction of the chief's finger, you can see a thin middle-aged man. He is wearing silver knight armor, and has a goatee at the corner of his mouth. Although he does not have only a slit in his glasses like Silver Axe, he also wears a thick helmet, and his weapon is a medieval-style lance in his hand. Yamato is still observing the situation here at the firing port of the turret, but her focus is not on Ganfal, but on the horse. A horse with wings? Do all the horses on Sky Island have wings? Unfortunately, because she is now observing from the position of the cabin, no one answered her question, and the two little ones beside her also don't know the answer. Lord Holy Beast, let me do it. I don't think this man is worthy of the title of God. With lightning flashing on his shoulders, Zerora asked Arceus for permission to go into battle. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.